Howdy, folks. Your host, Double J, back here for another Operation GCD Fridays. The triumphant beardless return. I'm not going to belabor these points any longer. Welcome our guests in here for this evening. Miss Dana Doodah, if my computer wants to operate here. Hey, Miss Dana Doodah, welcome back to Operation GCD for your very first time.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
For sure. Very excited to get into some of your updated process research, especially the recent discovery you were sharing with me in a conversation there. Basically, the process church meets Jeffrey Epstein, right?
And Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself, everybody. Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
I think him and Charlie Kirk are hanging out in Valhalla, but I think this gent has some information about that here. Guest co-host for the triumphant return, other JJ. Welcome back to Operation GCD for your first time, sir.
Yes, thank you for having me on again for my very first time.
Absolutely. So let's let Miss Doodah plug her recent work here and what is the process. I know you're busy there working on pumping out new programs all the time in that regard. So what you got there, ma'am?
Well, I'm releasing tomorrow on Patreon part 1 of The Truth About Willowbrook and Cropsey, The Lies of One Mr. Joshua Zeman. I thought I was going to be able to do it one episode. That was a foolhardy task, so that's what I'm starting. And I will also be doing, because I'm most certain that he's watching, so I hope that you lose sleep over it. I'm going to do my return to YouTube where we go through Manny's daddy's name, Manny's daddy's business name, and all of the Epstein files, because it's in there almost 40 times. We're going to focus on the time that Manny's father was working there, as well as his time at the Harvard Club. I think people need a refresher.
Now, did you say Manny or...
Huh?
Your sound cut out, JJ.
Yeah.
There it is.
Now I can.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Oh, shoot. Well, there we go. I'm glad that we probably don't need to repeat that last comment.
Well, whatever. It's the balding gardener. So
no, I said it kind of sounds like another fellow I've heard about named Hiram Corso, but that's probably a topic for a different conversation.
For sure.
So I am excited to get in some of these Epstein didn't kill himself type conversations. I've been on board with that since he didn't kill himself. There was photographs of the man on his own island dressed in the same polo shirt, shorts, and sandals, looking like Jeffrey Epstein, Labor Day weekend, 3 weeks after he allegedly hung himself, right?
I mean, yeah, there's also, I don't know if you guys saw that really strange photo that some people were, whatever. It's like, I don't really care. Is it him? I don't know. But it was a photo like at a cross section in Tel Aviv, and it really looked like Epstein. And it was not AI. It looked like him, though, for real, with like really grown out hair and a grown out beard. And I was like, well, if he didn't get plastic surgery, which you would imagine that he would, right, to go into hiding.
Well, I mean, he had a dental chair, right? You can even do dental surgery, right?
I don't want to talk about the dentist chair.
I knew you'd like that one, ma'am. I knew you'd like that one.
Do you guys remember when
account? He had a Fortnite account that once it got added on OJJ knows probably more than I do about it. I've been dealing with Bison all day, sir.
Yeah, I saw the Fortnite account. Apparently he's been playing since like 2016 or something. It's like a really long time, and somebody found it, and as soon as they put it up on a live stream, it went private like that.
Well, you know what it reminded me of in that regard was when Ghislaine Maxwell, she was talking to the Department of Justice, the Deputy Attorney General, about 7 months ago, maybe July. And suddenly her Reddit account became active that next day. And she's one of the highest moderators on Reddit, which was financed by Jeffrey Epstein through MIT. So this is not too big of a surprise to me that she'd be so involved in Reddit.
Right. Well, and then there's the connections with 4chan and the poll board, which no surprise that's literally like a psychological operation. I mean, if anyone ever spent like 5 seconds on 4chan, like it's not hard to tell.
Wasn't it run by a diddler out of the Philippines?
Right. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
and a lot of
that's not
the
a red flag, is it?
sort of. A lot of the IP addresses, because like there were some internal documents that got releaked from 4chan, like a bunch of computer code and stuff, and a lot of the IP addresses that are posting were coming from Tel Aviv. So
Oh, they were coming from. Wasn't there an incident where they were coming from like one of the like Andrews Air Force Base or some Air Force base?
that was Reddit.
Yeah,
Was it
that was
Reddit?
Reddit.
I knew it was one of the
Yep.
associated. Yeah.
Yep.
Wild stuff, wild times we live in, huh? Jeffrey Epstein times. I mean, it's hard not to say this wasn't large. I got a lot of ideas, but Miss Dudall, did you have any more plugs for your what is the process or anything else you're working on coming up?
Nah, whatever. People could come and look, and if it's there, it's there.
Well, make sure your links are in the show notes. Another JJ, you're a busy man as well, doing some Satanism stuff, specifically in my departure, and I can respect that, sir. Is your
Yes,
your
sir.
viewpoint as being a former kind of a corporate Satanist from Mormons, and then a full blown from Satanism, right?
Yeah, correct. So, I mean, the big thing I've been working on is just satanic panic is real. That's
Yes, sir.
kind of the angle I've been taking, and of course, still hitting the mind control MK Ultra stuff, because I think everything comes back to like mind control. It just seems like it is always there, even if it's like an underpinning or it's just like right under the radar or whatever.
Well, I don't
It
think you're
always
going to get any
comes
arguments
back.
from myself or Miss Duda on
Right.
that regard, especially when it comes to all these creepy hypnotist dentists. Just wanted to interject that for you.
Right. And so, just hitting the MK Ultra mind control stuff, but also just hitting the satanic panic stuff really hard, because the one thing I've noticed, just like looking back through history and everything, it seems like all of this occult stuff kind of seems to come in waves, and it just
It's
feels
phases,
like
right? It's like
right,
a different phase, right?
right. And I swear we are right on the precipice of a brand new wave of like satanic and occult crime coming in, just basically satanic panic 2.0. Like it's coming in, like it
I
never
like where your
ended.
brain holds at, sir. I've
but
been plotting the same thing on the horizon on my Thursdays
Yep.
program. I'm glad we're gonna have to link up for some more of these Satan
Oh, yeah.
conversations.
Oh yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think the end goal is? We're gonna get another round of serial killers?
I think there's going to definitely be some serial killers, because I mean, once again, that never really ended, but I don't think
Right.
that's going to be the main focus.
Yeah, that's the one they can always rehash, right? I mean, they come up with the new.
Right.
They got the school shooters, the spree shooters, the going postal shooters. They
Right.
can always rehash that serial killer. That's a time
Right.
true.
We're never
Right.
going to get like another golden age of serial killers, though.
Well,
Like we're never going to get anything
let's
like
not rule
that.
it out yet, sir. Shit's about to get real wild. You ask me.
That is true. That is true. Anything is possible in this Epstein era.
That's what I'm, dude. That's what I'm saying. The wheels. I mean, I understand what you're saying. There's kind of some rules apply, right? Like we can kind of
Right.
base things off of what's occurred in the past, but I think the train's left the track, sir.
I do not disagree. I do not
Yeah.
disagree. Especially like them releasing all of these files. Like obviously this is a
Well,
controlled
what files? They
demolition.
didn't have any
right?
files, sir. There
Well,
was no files.
whatever papers they decided to release to us and call it files.
Did
but-
AI make? I haven't gotten through all these files. Did AI make these files? And like, is this like?
I
is
have
it,
no
is this
idea.
stuff legit? I haven't got a chance to really dive too far into it.
I have no idea. I'm letting everyone else do the work.
Bingo.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting till the dust settled. What are your thoughts there, ma'am, on these?
Oh yeah,
on
no,
the-
I'm letting everybody else do it. Everybody
Yeah.
else is losing their fucking minds.
Well, I was
Like
going to say, there's a lot of folks going schizo right now, right? A lot of Adderall.
I have
being
enough.
popped.
I have enough to work on. I'm like,
Yep.
if people, I bookmark what I find interesting, and it's. I remember when the photos of the dentist chair and the mask on the wall was like the worst of the worst, and
Yeah.
wow, it's just completely gone to shit, guys. And
Yeah.
that's why I made that like Dave McGowan program to kill apology form, because Dave McGowan was right. You're a fucking
Yeah.
idiot, and it's worse. And there are tunnels. Okay.
Yep.
It is what it is. Some
He
of
had
us
a
have
dental
known that
chair
this was
in
coming.
every property, ma'am, not just one property.
Yeah, no,
Every
I know.
property got it. You got to make sure you have that dental chair. Makes you wonder what is really going on. I understand the masseuse table in every property. You walk in the masseuse table, but what's going on with this dental chair?
I'm pretty sure he had a whole full blown lab at Zorro Ranch. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that's where a lot of the DNA testing and the genetic stuff was going down.
That's
You know what's
exactly where it's
creepy?
going
Zorro
down.
Ranch is always creeping me out, aside from the lottery and the stuff you're describing with the genetics testing. he built like a fake replica set of Westworld from Western World or whatever from
Yeah,
HBO.
Westworld.
Westworld. There we go.
Yep.
Never seen it, but I've heard of it. Yeah, and Bill and Hillary Clinton, every time they came to the ranch, that's where they stayed. Now, I didn't get that directly from Dan Bongino, who used to be Hillary Clinton's Secret Service, but we should salute him for that service. The same shit he's never talking about. When we're talking about all these Epstein stuff, isn't it weird we get a character like fucking Bongino? I know Dana likes him.
Bing bong.
And Cash App PayPal in there. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. That's just like the weirdest stuff is
they seem
especially
super
those three
together.
Right? Oh, entirely. I think they were
Bongino came from
in.
Clinton and Obama's Secret Service staff. Cash App PayPal is apparently shacked up with his Mormon boyfriend in Las Vegas.
Right.
That other lady's a beard, apparently.
Right.
Which that makes sense to me, actually, because he put in a request. It's documented. He was telecommuting from Las Vegas. Why the fuck is the FBI director telecommuting from his apparent Mormon boyfriend's home, their mansion, and some multi-level timeshare marketing scheme kind of Mormon millionaire?
Right.
They love you know what I'm talking about. They love their multi-level marketing at the mothership.
Oh,
but
of course.
Weird though, man. And I just feel like you look at somebody like Pam Bondi. I know Dana's got a lot of thoughts on her. She seems compromised as well.
She is compromised. She's fucking getting paid by Scientology for over a decade.
And on that note, ma'am, I have a clip I'd like to share with everybody. I'm sure you've seen it, and other JJ has as well. But it's a timeless classic here at Operation GCD.
This is a very complicated case, Maud. A lot of ins, a lot of outs, a lot of what have yous, and a lot of strands to keep in my head, man. A lot of strands in old Duder's head.
But we will continue to follow the law, again, while protecting victims, but also providing maximum transparency.
What in God's holy name are you blathering about?
Madam Attorney General, the DOJ statement earlier this year saying that the files would not release mentioned the fact that the review of the documents and the evidence did not suggest that any additional investigation of third parties was warranted. What changed since then that you launched this investigation?
Information that has come for information.
Look, man, I've got certain information, all right? Certain things have come to light.
Information that has come for information.
I've got information, man. New shit has come to light.
Information that has come for information.
I've got information, man. New shit has come to light. And shit.
There's information new information, additional information, and
I've got information, man. New shit has come to light.
Again, we will continue to follow the law, to investigate any leads. If there are any victims, we encourage all victims to come forward, and we will continue.
What in God's holy name are you blathering about?
This is a very complicated case, Maud. A lot of ins, a lot of outs, a lot of what have yous, and a lot of strands to keep in my head, man. A lot of strands in old Duder's head.
A lot of strands in old Duder's head, man. I mean, they just look like those Muppets look like complete Muppets up there, just even trying to spin something around that stuff. I expect more out of Muppets for my money. You know what I mean? I want more Muppets for my money than these Muppets.
I think the Cash App is a lot of money because he looks like he is extremely high on very high quality cocaine, and he is focusing on something across the room and is not budging. Like that dude is just like, it's nothing there, or meth. I don't know. It's one or the other.
Well,
but
it's funny
totally
you say that. His cult, they have a roots over there in India, subcontinent Asia, there, if you will. That they chew on. It's like a very it's like coke. It's an amphetamine. So you might be just gnawing on some of that root in the background. You know what I mean?
Well, and the dude standing opposite of both of them, like he looked like Henry Rollins' dad or something. Like,
oh, that's John. He's the He was director of intelligence there, wasn't he? Before Tulsi Gabbard.
I think so.
John Radcliffe. John Radcliffe.
Yes.
The first administration, he was director of national intelligence.
Right. Yeah, probably related to Rollins somehow. Honestly, he's got that square jaw.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, sir. Henry Rollins is from the military-industrial complex and was born in Washington, D.C.
Yes, he is. Who is his daddy and what does he do? And
Yeah.
you start
I'm
looking
glad
into
you said
that.
that, sir. If you want to play that game this early on a Friday night on the triumphant return of Fridays, we're 15 minutes in, sir. If you want to play that game, we can play that game.
You tell me, who is your daddy and what does he do?
You tell me, who's Bill Mayer's daddy and what does he do? Because that
Right.
man you saw in the black and white is allegedly William Aloysius Mayer Jr., I believe is his name. And that is supposedly Bill Mayer's father, a newsman from New Jersey. However, he looks pretty chummy and identical to Hugh Hefner.
He really does. He
Yeah, but have
really
you seen
does.
Hugh Hefner's other son that also likes to fuck dogs?
Whoa, I wasn't going to go there yet, man, but that's obviously, you know where I was heading with that.
Just saying, necessarily look like Hugh, but it's just as
Right.
disgusting.
Right.
Well, but I mean, Hugh Hefner did famously have, some German Shepherd orgies there at the Playboy Mansion, did he not? With old Deep Throat herself,
Yep.
Linda Lovelace.
Yep, he sure did.
And now she's from Westchester County, New York, is she not? It's a real den of iniquity up there.
Yes, it is.
So many people coming out of there. It's just
That's what I'm saying. It's beyond coincidence. It's unreal, right?
It's a
Like,
portal to hell. I'm convinced that Westchester
convinced
County
of
is
it,
a portal to hell.
I agree with you, ma'am. I like where your brain hole's at because
Right.
old cocaine Bob Evans' family, his mother's family, is still very prominent there today. They have run the grocery distribution operation there, which who knows what else they're distributing. Just
Groceries.
saying. Just saying. Cocaine Bob was known for a lot of trafficking and distribution, and it wasn't groceries.
Correct.
I mean,
He also liked to get peed on by teenagers who he paid.
oh,
Well, we're going
wonderful.
there. He also built an elaborate. I've never seen this. Got this from a very verifiable source, though. Cocaine Bob Evans built an elaborate, like 3-story tall, like slide system to hire hookers to come shit in his mouth at the bottom of the slide. So
That
that's
tracks.
Cocaine Bob.
Tracks.
That's
I mean,
Cocaine
hey,
Bob
if-
for you.
Anytime you're trafficking one thing, whether it be drugs or whatever, it's not too far behind is always weapons and children. So
Well, that's what I'm saying. And you got Cocaine Bob, for example, is all over the Orenthal James Simpson case from every angle.
right.
He walks when the head of the Medellin cartel, Karen Greenberger, goes to prison for ordering Roy Raden's murder. That's a tough sentence to say. Ordering Roy Raden's murder, dude. It's one of them baby binker bobbers things, whatever they call those things. But yeah, he's got some power, dude. If you get busted with large scale cocaine and you don't do any time, like, all right, buddy. You're a
Right.
muppet.
Even if you roll over on somebody, you're still doing some
That's what
time.
you're doing something, right? You're not walking on
Right.
murders and cocaine traffickings, right?
No.
Whatever
No.
strings he's pulling in the Orenthal James Simpson case, because not only was it Bill Colby's son, Carl Colby, involved, old Cocaine Bob was a major figure in that. The other primary witness besides Carl Colby was Cocaine Bob's girlfriend, former
Right.
mistress, Nicole Brown Simpson's sister, was banging Cocaine Bob.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well,
Yes.
OJ, besides going clear, what is around early 80s, right, ma'am? Was that when old OJ went clear?
I think that's when they got the juice. Yeah.
And they got him. The juice was loose after that. And you got to think about that. That's before his Hollywood career, his hurt, I think he was already the Hurts guy by that point, but he wasn't the NFL guy, so I think he had a very prominent. What I'm saying is he seemed to bear some fruit from joining old Team Zeno there.
Yeah, no kidding. Did you ever see that there was a sports broadcast of him actually wearing the gloves? Did you ever see that?
I've seen that, dude. And here's the deal. I have no doubt that he owned them shoes and owned them gloves. They framed that motherfucker. So,
Right.
I mean, were those
Right.
gloves ever in the act of committing the crime? We don't know that.
Right,
You're
exactly.
made to think that.
Right. I mean,
and then you
I
have Philip
don't
Van Adder.
believe any of this shit coming out on either side because it's just kind of
There you go.
like with all of this Epstein stuff. I saw a bunch of talk about Michael Jackson come back up, and it's like I don't believe any of that shit either.
No, I don't believe. No, but I like what you're saying. And we were going over that with both sides are bullshit.
Right. I mean, it's just it's theater, you know? It is. It really
I think a lot
is.
of it is, man. I really do think a lot of it is.
It has to be. I mean, nothing else quite makes sense. But
Well, I
when you
mean,
look at it that way,
it's a distraction, right? Like, what is it a distraction from? I don't think we're gonna know for some time, but also
right,
it's if you acknowledge that that's what it is and still look at it, and there's a lot to find. I mean,
right,
Cocaine Bob and Jeffrey Epstein were working on a UFO project. Why?
right.
What do you mean? We've already done that. I like where y'all are at tonight, man. Who's your daddy? What does he do? I like this. Really is a triumphant return. When you told me about the UFO project between with Jeffrey Epstein, I nearly crashed my car. Like, what the fuck is going on this week?
Yeah, I mean, that's just wild. And God, there was all sorts of things that have come out. I saw Jeffrey talking to some like biologist about spreading like trans ideology to kids, like with the intention of hurting kids. And it's
let's get into some of these. I would like to hear Miss Dudall's thoughts on all this UFO stuff because you got Brett Ratner in the mix, and that's another Cocaine Bob underling. I mean, there's a lot to be said about Cocaine Bob with these Epstein business. And again, I think that all goes when I say Cocaine Bob, to me, I agree with Maury Terry. He was right that he was a major figure in the West Coast Process Church. So I think we can point to a lot of data points around that, but I'd like to address this. It was not OJ's son, demonstrably. And if you want to believe that, you're welcome to, but you can check out how I did an entire 3.5 hours on OJ Simpson, did not do it. And the only reason there's any Orenthal, James Simpson, or his son's blood there is because, Philip Van Adder took an entire vial of it and then never got into evidence. So we know how it got in there. This stuff was, in the propaganda that was sold to the American public, this stuff was shielded from this was argued in court. You know what I mean? This was not like, this wasn't a secret.
right.
But it was so much propaganda around it, and everyone around that was Scientology or Charles Manson's friend, the process, Ira Reiner, former LA district attorney. That's when we get all of these media pundits, Greta Van Susteren, Scientologist. The head lead prosecutor, Marcia Clark, her first and second husband, Scientologists, married by the same Scientologist as the officiant. He somehow was involved, and Dana can probably speak more to it, was somehow involved in Marcia Clark's, the officiant Scientologist guy, for both of her weddings, was somehow involved in the murder of her first husband.
That I don't know.
Oh, it's I'll make sure I'll get you back on here, ma'am, to discuss that tale. It's I read Marcia Clark's book, sadly, and she tells you all about it, and it's I don't believe any of her fucking narrative, but it's weird.
Has anyone seen the connection? What's his name? Harvey
Weinstein?
Pasternak?
No, the one from TMZ.
Oh, I know you're talking about.
Lawyer.
Table that thought, sir, because I just wanted to close this one out. The guy who sold the OJ son theory, old Bill Deere, he's also the guy who starts in the satanic panic bullshit and stuff around and disinformation campaign circa 1981.
Right.
With the Dungeons and Dragons stuff.
Right.
So all these Muppets know each other.
Harvey Levin, by the way.
Harvey Levin. What did he do besides?
Well, I mean, he is. Well, I mean, first of all, he's like a celebrity lawyer, and I mean, he's tied into all this Scientology media nonsense.
I don't know enough about him, but I'm intrigued.
Well, and that's kind of why I was curious, because he kept popping up in the Epstein files, of course.
All right.
Just looking at.
So did Robin
briefly.
Leach, right? So is he like the generation 2 of Robin Leach? Is he the one running cover?
I think so. I mean,
right.
So when he came up in the Epstein files, he was said that Epstein said that he would run cover for them. Like blatantly.
That's what I'm saying, dude. It sounds like just the way, from my rudimentary understanding of the Levins being brought up in there and Robin Leach, it sounds like these assholes are out there running cover for these Muppets.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It just seems like, why wouldn't they have that there? It's the controlled opposition, right? That's what I'm saying. Like
right.
I don't think anyone should be shocked by these revelations. I think this is what conspiracy culture talks about all the time. We just now can point to that's it right there.
Right. I think it's kind of just shocking for people though, because now it's like in black and white, you know?
Yeah. a lot of cognitive dissonance going on where people
Oh,
are
that's
like,
fair.
oh, this is actually happening. Oh, that's crazy. And it's like,
Right.
yeah, what do you think that we've been trying to tell you? We're trying to tell you don't trust us, go look for yourself, but also don't trust
Right.
these motherfuckers. Now you're
Right.
seeing it
Yeah.
for yourself.
It's got to be
Right.
shocking for some folks. Because I mean, I was shocking for me. I can only imagine. So to learn a lot of these
Right.
details.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't know
So
exactly
Roy
what
Cohn
quite to
2.0, did he
say.
make it in the files?
Who?
What's that, sir?
I was just saying I
Roy
still
Cohn
don't know.
2.0, Roger Stone.
Seems like we have a little bit of a delay, but I'm not sure if
I
he
don't
made
disagree.
it into the files. I haven't seen anyways, but I still don't quite know what to say about all of this stuff either. So yeah, if it's kind of shocking to any of us on any level, I can't imagine to somebody who denies this.
Right. No, I just think Roger Stone filled in where Roy Cohn left off because that's who introduced,
Right.
for example, Donald Trump to Roy Cohn.
Right.
And he's all wrapped up in Nexium, as I assert, as the Albany chapter of the Process Church, and that's because they make those claims themselves. I just
Right.
quote them on it. But what are your take on all this UFO nonsense, ma'am? The Jeffrey
fake and
Epstein
gay.
cocaine Bob. But
It's
to
fake
them,
and
is
gay.
it fake? I don't disagree, but to them, is it fake and gay?
I have
They
no
seem pretty
idea
serious
because the
about it.
project is extremely vague and it sounds like they were working on it for some time and it's under Robert Evans Productions for Paramount and I'm just like, what do you mean you guys are working on a UFO project? Like, what the fuck? Is it a movie? Is it a TV show? Are you guys going out to Skinwalker Ranch? Like, I have no
We probably
idea.
are.
They probably were. That's the first thing that came to my
Right.
mind, like some ancient
Yeah.
aliens or Skinwalker Ranch type stuff. But that was it. I mean,
So that
I
means
don't know.
we have the Mormons, Epstein, and the Process, really, right?
Right.
Doing weird UFO stuff. If they were going to Skinwalker Ranch, I'm just saying that's where my brain hole went as soon as I started contemplating these things. I'm like, yeah, because we see Scientology and the Mormons all around the Kirk situation, right?
Right. Well, and there was a few Mormon mentions in the Epstein files, at least so far.
Yeah, Mormon blood, right?
Yeah, Mormon blood, a pint of Mormon blood, which was said
They come and get you. They come and get
Yeah.
you, JJ. They come
No,
knock on your
no,
door.
nope, not me. No,
Like, give me
I'm
give me
safe.
some Mormon blood, boy.
Yeah, it's like, and that's such a weird statement to make, right? Like a pint of Mormon blood, like, and allegedly, Epstein was paying the tuition of some student at BYU, which is wild. It's because that's directly a church
What happened?
school. Yeah, he was
What
paying.
was this? Say that again.
Epstein was paying tuition for a student at BYU.
So then you have the Teal Epstein kind of, all these kind of. Although I would argue a lot of the Teal Epstein stuff, they were competing. From my research, they were competing against each other on a lot of AI projects, but that doesn't mean they're not friends, right? But I'm just saying, Peter Thiel's got some major Mormon connections to the mothership.
Oh, yeah.
I'm close to connecting Elon Musk in the same way. A lot of folks. Well, I think it's weird. He looks like Werner von Braun, and I now can document that his mother knew Werner von Braun, because then Werner von Braun wrote the whole story about someone named Elon going to the Mars, right?
Right.
So that's all very, very weird. But he's actually named after his great grandfather, who's American from Minnesota, a prominent figure in Minneapolis region. It's named Elon, maternal
Weird.
grandfather, not the Mustad.
Yeah, that's weird.
Right?
Yeah, all of these people they're so strange in the way that they conduct their lives.
Well, he's all over the situation, right? In the Epstein files, right? I've seen some of that was probably AI, from my understanding, but
yeah,
I expect a lot of AI. I expect, because it just seemed like there was such a push for all this AI stuff, and now we're getting videos. I mean, now everyone can question their own reality, right?
Right, exactly, and I think that's part of the whole thing, because I do believe that this is like a controlled demolition, which is why we're getting certain names and not others. Like somebody brought up in my chat the other night, it's like, why are we not seeing Oprah's name in any of this?
Yeah, right.
Like, so we're getting certain names like Jay-Z and Beyonce and Bill Gates, but we're not getting other names that most definitely are in the files somewhere.
Yeah, but they said it was going to take years.
Right.
That's why
Right.
we're not getting everything at once. People have to keep in mind, like, they've been very transparent. I will give them that. Since they've decided that files do exist, they have said
Well,
it's
there's new
going to
information.
take. They've said it's going to take years to release this
Right.
stuff. So whatever you think you haven't seen, or you're asking why you haven't seen it, I wouldn't be holding your breath because
Right.
there's still going to be a lot more to come out. And I think that part of the AI stuff is to get people to dismiss some of the valid shit that's in there,
Right.
like the checks that were scanned in of Jeffrey Epstein paying Paul Krasner's fucking medical bills
There
all
we
the
go.
way through
Right.
the middle of the 2010s. I reign
That's
supreme on shitting on Paul Krasner. Fuck all the boomers that have made me feel bad about it for the past year. I
now
was right.
for folks who are not familiar with Paul Krasner. He's a esteemed person within conspiracy culture. He was the editor for Mae Brussel for many
Yep.
years. Mae Brussel, the communist sympathizer who hung out with the Process Church and dated a Black Panther, and never mentioned the process ever.
Right.
And also gave up her quote, specific quote, Jewish hangups by hanging out with the founder, Michael Murphy of Esalen, where she
Well, that's
got
Right.
turned on. Sorry,
I mean,
guys.
that makes sense, right? Because
Sorry. I don't write this stuff. It's history. It's not my problem.
Right.
Well, so her maiden name was Mansion, as in the Mansion department store of the South Bay area there in San Francisco. Multi hundreds of millionaires back then. That was her grandfather who started it. Her father was the rabbi to the stars
Yes, he
and
was.
literally hung out with everybody, right?
Yes, he was. She was a Hollywood girl. Absolutely. Yeah, she was hanging out with
Yeah.
celebrities. And again, like, whatever, people can't control who their parents are. But, you know, her
Right.
whole thing of like, oh, I gave up all of my Jewish hangups when I fell in love with the founder of Esalen. And I'm just like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Like, this is a joke. And I'm sorry, Jim Garrison beat her with the JFK stuff by years. And he did it on television. Jim Garrison did the work before her, and he was right.
Yep.
I agree with you, man. And on that,
100%.
I'd like to play this clip.
Isn't that terribly confusing? And don't you seem to be riding off in all directions?
It seems like it, doesn't it? Let me ask you.
It certainly does.
Right. Let me ask you first, how many hours do I have to answer this list you just went over?
Well, I know that we have the rest of the program this evening. I understand that we can't sit here and completely recreate or theorize on what happened. But I just wanted to get the chronology of the statements.
Well, let me see if I can put this in focus. If I were to say, for example, that an elephant has a tail and he's gray and he has 4 legs, it would be possible for somebody to point out, just a minute, you just finished saying an elephant had a tail, now you say he has 4 legs, and now you say he's gray. The point I'm making is that each of these factors is a characteristic of one being, and in a complex situation like this, it's possible to be standing at a different point of view and describing different aspects. For example, we find that in the group.
That's a great point, man. And we can see why they don't have the video for that show on Johnny Carson any longer, because moments after that clip, Johnny Carson's like, well, do you have any evidence of this, Jim? And he's like, well, in fact, I do. And he starts bringing out a photograph of Fred Chrisman as the grassy knoll shooter, and Johnny Carson shits his pants and goes to commercial break immediately.
Yeah.
Back then, he would just bring up his own card for commercial break, right? So it was like, oh, come say it, Howard Johnson. Don't pay no attention to Michael Riconosciuto's godfather, Fred Chrisman, right? So all these Muppets know each other. And when I think of the process, I think of that clip because not only did Jim point out Jim Garrison investigated this shit first, and he's Mae Brussel can say what she wants about JFK and all this stuff. Yeah, she's basically just copying him.
Yep.
And he's investigating the process when they invade his district, right?
Correct.
In 1967, June of 67.
Correct. And
Yeah, he's in the know, right?
Kerry Thornley blames the process for implicating him in the investigation.
Right.
He says that the process went and basically told on him to Jim Garrison, but then Kerry Thornley sets up another meeting with the process in New Orleans, their technical headquarters, in 1971 or 1972, but won't tell anybody what it's about, and there's no record of this meeting. He just felt the need to make it known.
Yeah, so totally normal. And on that same regard, we got Kerry Thornley. Every branch of his family tree, I have a family pole because I don't have a lot of branches. Every branch of his family tree are all pioneering Mormon families from the Brigham Young enterprise of Mormonism, meaning Deseret.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
I wonder if he's
And
related to Julie Castle, because I just did her genealogy, and I was working with one of my patrons on it, and Julie Castle comes from Brigham Young, from that line. I wonder if her and Carrie Thornley are related, because that would be really interesting.
I strongly suspect they are. I strongly suspect they are, man. We'll have to.
I mean, that's not that far of a leap.
No, it makes sense to me right now. I mean, again, these people all know, these Muppets all know each other, but
Right.
and speaking of that, Kerry Thornley's from Whittier, California, same hometown as Mae Brussel. That's
Right.
weird.
Right.
And Richard Nixon.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'd say that's her hometown, but she did live there for some period of time because her father, the rabbis, she talks about how Richard Nixon used to come over to their house for dinner.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's northern LA County. I mean, it's all the same region. I'm just saying, like, yeah, these Muppets all knew each other.
Right.
Well, people
And
will
Richard
say
Nixon.
it's a different time, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, I'm tired of that excuse, guys. I'm
Right.
fucking over it. Like, this excuse doesn't hold water with me anymore. And I'm not telling people. Like, people get so upset with me about the Mae Brussels stuff. They're like, oh, finally, like, people are like, you were right about Krasner, but like they won't let it go about May. And I'm like, I'm
Why
not
do you
out
think
here
that
shitting
is?
on women. It's just I never had an affinity for her, right? So like I come into all of this with no affinity for any of these counterculture people. I come in because of Dave McGowan, literally. And so when
Right.
I'm looking at these people, I'm assuming everybody's a suspect. You're a suspect until proven otherwise. And
100%.
sorry,
You're all suspects.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's not been exonerated. I'm sorry.
Right. Well, and it just kind of
Well,
seems like
you can't tell. Oh, go ahead, sir.
I was just going to say that the longer that all of this goes on, it kind of seems it points to the other direction. Like she's not going to be exonerated. So
I'm not saying that Paul Krasner didn't. I think that he recruited her, but again, it begs the
Well,
question. It's like chicken and the egg, because
There you
she's
go.
hanging
Right.
out at Esalen, which is modern day Peter Thiel, Silicon Valley, PayPal Mafia bullshit, like now,
Right.
right? And so and then Krasner's running in his weird circles. I've tied him to Operation Paperclip Nazis. It's like, guys, I mean,
There you
she's
go.
in some of the same magazines as this specific fucking Nazi, as George von Hilsheimer, like, and she's
It all
supposed to be
seems to
so
go to
good
the
at
Nazis.
research.
Right.
There you go. No, that's right where I'm at, man. Because you can't say she's good at research, and then she talks hundreds of hours about Charles Manson, never mentions the process, and on top of that,
Right.
she's hanging out with members of the process. Her daughter's talking about going and having ice cream over John and Yoko's house, right? Again, you look at all these factors. She's dating a Black Panthers leader. You can't say she's a great researcher and then have that same thing in your brain hole. You'll go schizo because it's not real.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you guys
But
think
it does
like,
go back to Nazis, though. So if I'm on a second, if I may, sir,
No, you-
all these things, even though again the Nazi Satanist aspects of the process, a lot of these, the aspects around the Manson stuff, again, it's just all Nazi stuff, if you ask me, because Leno LaBianca, like the Project Paperclip kind, right? The kind that Richard Nixon was an OSS member on Project Paperclip stuff, Bill Colby's Queers, right? and Leno LaBianca, the Manson family murder victim, appears to have been the ranking military police sergeant in charge of Camp Overcast, which was the first round of them Nazis, of the Project Paperclip Nazis. Walter Dornberger, Werner von Braun, they were all part of what was called Operation Overcast. This was Bill Colby's project that preceded the official Project Paperclip. And Leno LaBianca seems to have been I know for a fact he's stationed at the headquarters unit 8 miles away from this camp at the very same time in southern Bavaria, right? As a military police officer from the California National Guard, mobilized for a year and a half in World War II there. He's an E6, he's the ranking dude there, but you don't have military police dudes at the headquarters. So in all probable likelihood, they're 8 miles down the road at this secret camp called Camp Overcast. operationally, but administratively and on paper, they're at the headquarters unit 8 miles down the road. So I'm just telling you how these things operate. This is the Army Air Corps. This is the organization that I served 21 years in. The U.S. Army Air Corps became the Air Force Military Police.
Right.
And yeah.
So
I'm familiar with these Muppets operations. I'm just saying, I can't prove it, but in all probable likelihood, Linda LaBianca was involved in Project Paperclip as well.
So the one thing I was going to ask real quick was, do you guys think like Alex Constantine has anything to do with like the Mae Brussel worship? Because
Yes.
I mean, she definitely does have kind of like this
beat me to it.
kind of this like floating around her, like kind of what you're describing, Dana, like she can't be touched almost. Like, don't you dare criticize her.
She's a sacred cow, just like Whitney Webb, the technocracy. Yeah, they're sacred cows, right? And it's always broads. I'm like, why?
Why?
First off, it's women are extremely manipulative. I say that as a woman. You know, these chicks are placed in here for a specific reason. And it's, again, like, Jim Garrison did JFK. Whether people agree with him or not doesn't really matter. The fact that a lot of people don't know who Jim Garrison is speaks to the validity of his investigation, in my humble opinion. He lays out a complete, just case closed, done, open and shut. And the fact that, you know, that's something that like she's known for, it's like, okay, whatever you say. Again, why is she, you know, this Hollywood, you know, I don't give a shit about her being Jewish, but she seems to care.
Whoa, the hard J? We're dropping hard J's?
Well, she brings it up.
It's being ridiculous.
So her being a Hollywood Jew, you know, a daughter of a famous rabbi, you know,
I think it's an important thing. Yeah, I think it's important to consider, though, because, again, that's how she had access probably to John and Yoko and a lot of these other celebrities, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, you know,
but everyone wants to throw the hard J on it to distract you, right? Like, oh, you can't talk about the Jewish people like that.
Right.
She's the one that brought it up. She's the one that said, I gave up all my Jewish hangups. I'm like, all right, go off, Queen. You're the one that said it. So I'm just repeating your words.
Perfect trap. Now, then you start talking about, whoa, you can't start talking about it.
Yeah.
Talking about it.
Right.
Classic Nazi Satanist move. Just saying.
I mean, it kind of seems like the same reason why like Oliver Stone is now like the JFK guy, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what?
Like he didn't do anything groundbreaking or anything. You know?
He used Scientologist Jim Marr's book as the basis of his film.
Well, okay, I guess that's kind of groundbreaking.
And then he employed Lee Harvey Oswald's friend, who was the underling to Mitch Warbell, and one Patrick Hemming as the technical advisor to the film.
Right.
Some weird shit, man.
And someone else had pointed out, so two things, it is kind of going off of what Jacob was saying. So yeah, I thought that it was, thank you, Nixon Bogain, for clarifying that. So that Alex Constantine, his stuff is published by Feral House. Okay, that's the Process Publishing House. So that's where that Mae Brussel book comes from. That is the same as, what's her name? The one that does all the RFK research.
Oh,
older lady,
I know you're talking about.
Older lady, brown hair.
I know who you're talking about. I can't.
You know who I'm talking about. She does all the RFK stuff. Yeah, so that book is also published by Feral House. Imagine that. Yes, that's literally the Process Publishing House.
Right.
So that should tell you everything that you need to know.
Right.
By my count, they have over 24 Process Church books published, to include which the official anthology with Lucian Greaves adding the timeline.
They got it. Lisa Pease. Thank you.
Lisa Pease. Thank you. Yep. So I want to go back to this other comment, ma'am. You had commented in the chat on. I'm very interested in hearing more about this. I don't know anything about this.
I don't know anything about it either, but I've been calling John Ray compromised since I saw the guy. I think that he's suspicious as fuck.
I realized that. I just saw you reply to that, so I didn't know there was something we missed there. As far as there's an Epstein, I didn't know there was an Epstein connection there.
Well, I have no idea. I want Huggy Bear or Huggy whatever, like, holla at me, because I've been calling out John Ray. I don't understand why people listen to him or like his research her because I think that she's fucking weird too. She came out of nowhere. Like, I'm sorry, I don't trust these people. And, again, that's another case where we have a modern day processian or process sympathizer, however you want to look at it, Mr. Joshua Zeman, who has, he's knuckles deep in the List case as well. It's like, why are people listening to these individuals?
That I can certainly comment on, man, because he routinely collaborates with one. Is it Joe Giacalone or Jim something Giacalone?
Call him Jack Wagonalone.
Yeah, there you go. That's a great way to put it. He's the retired homicide lieutenant, homicide bureau, of which you're the person you mentioned at the beginning of the program, Mr. Manny, there is involved with it, solving these cold case files of Wendy Savino and gang. Right, that's the same. Literally the same homicide bureau that Giacalone's retired from running.
Correct.
Yeah, these Muppets all know each other.
Robert Klein. Right. Yes, Detective Robert Klein, who is a shady motherfucker with a really dirty record, who just happened to be there to, totally close the mafia books for the Son of Sam. Isn't that nice?
Total coincidence.
Well, then you also have Giacalone's brother is the guy that orchestrated the Whitmer kidnapping hoax, the FBI Muppet.
Right.
That's his brother.
No,
those two Giacalones are brothers. Yeah.
Is it really?
They're not just. Yeah, they're not just. They don't just have stupid names like Giacalone, but they are brothers.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
he's the guy that moved from the Michigan field office to the DC field office, in which then to orchestrate the January 6th events. Right, and the same Muppet. Same Muppet.
That's great.
Wow. I mean, I'm not surprised, because like you said, all these motherfuckers know each other,
They do, man. I'm telling you, once you start mapping these things, it's a much smaller network of Muppets.
It really is.
When you get into Whitmer and J6, yeah.
And then his brother's this other dude who's shitcoating all this Lisk stuff with Zemans and gang. Like, I don't know about you, buddy. But they do all know each other. And let me play this clip here to emphasize my point.
I used to go horseback riding in the San Fernando Valley at Spawn Ranch. That's where we went horseback riding. And my cousin and I were renting horses one time, and some guy came in yelling, "Charlie's on the hill! Charlie's on the hill!" And we're like, it startled us. We're like, oh my God, what's that? We look out the window, and there's about 6 to 8 people jump on horses and ride off in a gallop. We get our horses, and we see this trail of horses coming back about a half an hour later. And right in the middle of this pack is a small man, black hair to his shoulders, black eyes, little guy, and he's undulating to the movement of the horse. He's not holding his reins. He is just like this as the horse moves. About 2 years later, we're watching television, and Charlie Manson is arrested. Like,
oh my God.
And I go, that's the guy.
So you mean to tell me that the guy that marketed meth to everyone here in recent times knew Charles Manson, huh? Shocker.
I would say seeing and knowing might be a little bit of a stretch, and I still love Breaking Bad, but,
I'm going to say he's bullshitting about his connections with Spawn Ranch. He's like, we were just up there horseback riding one time.
I'm curious how old he would be. That's where I would make the argument as when was he born. That would be the only
he's in his 20s. He's in his 20s for sure, right?
At that time?
He's got to be, right?
I don't think so.
No, there's no way he's that old.
No, you're right.
No,
he says
I don't think he's that old.
He's going to be 13. So wait, according to his story, he'd been 2 years later, so he'd have been 11 when that happened.
Yeah, so that's pretty
11?
young.
I mean, you can ride a horse at 11.
Well, you can ride a horse when you're 94 too, sir, but it just don't happen that
true.
often. I'm just saying, there's a lot of. The more I look at, I actually visited Spawn Ranch. There'll be an upcoming GCD Adventures coming up here. Coming up. I think, but I've lost my brain hole. Anyway, there's a weird evangelical church that sits adjacent to the site today, which that's weird. I saw a lot of Hollywood productions going on the property, despite it not being no longer a Hollywood studio. That's weird. And
that is weird.
Yeah, they have the roads closed off. I had to kind of sneak in. Don't worry about it. Anyway, I just saw a lot of people I didn't want to be seen. You know what I mean? I was trying to go undetected. Last time I was there 10 years ago, I wasn't trespassing, but there was a lot of activity that wasn't there 10 years ago. I can assure you of that. And I looked it up. It's all attributed to an adjacent property, which is a Hollywood studio. They're like, no. That's over there. We don't do that over here at Spawn Ranch no more. But there's a lot of weird shit going on there. And back during the Manson family time, John Wayne was up there hanging out doing commercials and
Right.
shit while the Manson family lived there. So
Well, there's a
I'm just
whole
saying.
bunch of movie ranches all kind of throughout that area.
Do you work for Hollywood, sir? Is this you big Hollywood? Big Hollywood propaganda? I've
Well,
been there. I've seen it. I'm just
I
saying
do
they're
like
not
history.
connected. Well, you want to look at topography, dude. You got one ranch up here. You got one at 3/4 mile down, and
Right.
about 1,500 feet and change in elevation. Those two are not connected, but they're bouncing between the two properties as if they are. That's what I'm telling you.
Right. Well, and who knows what's underground up there?
That's
Well,
right.
that's where I was going to, because you'll see where they set up the process in Kanab, Utah, is
Yes,
Little
sir.
Hollywood.
Yeah, right. Right. And that town is weird. That town, that entire county is strange.
If you want to get weird about it, sir, the family that started that town, the Scowcrofts, Brent Scowcroft, right?
Yes.
Henry Kissinger's underling, Cocaine Bob's buddy. The
Yeah.
guy whose speechwriter, J.J. Bryan, started his own process cult, right, man?
Right.
Correct.
Victorianism.
Yeah. And I mean, David Hamblin's family's all connected into that, which
Same
just
family.
makes-
They're
exactly.
kinfolk. Yeah, they're
Right.
kinfolk. So the Hamblin that starts that is what I meant by the Scowcrofts are tied into the Hamblins.
Right.
That Hamblin that founds Kanab, Utah, founded the area known today as Area 51.
Right.
And the more research, I have another GCD adventures coming up on that one as well for folks who want to tune into Operation GCD Patreons. And it's my understanding from my research into the occult weirdo section of the interwebs that a lot of the modern day occultists believe that was the site of the Babylon working today is Area 51. Just north of the
Interesting.
Mojave Desert. And it's slightly
Right.
more than a stone's throw away from Barker Ranch, but it's the same general vicinity as the Manson family is held up at Barker Ranch. You got old L. Ron and Marvel Whiteside Jack Parsons up there doing some Babylon workings in a place that was founded by Mormon stuff. And we see all these ancient alien cargo cultists today. That shit was yesterday. That's in yesteryear, bud. We're seeing them
Right.
today all, forming like Voltron for some reason around Charlie Kirk. You know what I mean?
Right.
Around a lot of these circumstances. Around the
Right.
Idaho 4. Do you know about the Gooch, sir?
Oh,
Do you know
yeah.
about the Gooch?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah. We've discussed
I
the
felt
Gooch
uncomfortable
many times.
asking. I know. I just felt uncomfortable asking Dana if she knew about the Gooch, but in that same regard. But she knows about the Gooch. I've told her about it. But so, yeah, Victoria Gooch is the most important figure in framing Brian Koberger.
Right.
She's the daughter of Lieutenant Colonel Paul Tate's underling.
Right.
And by her own admission, her father.
No, go
Oh,
on.
I've not told you about the Gooch.
Oh no, you've told me.
Let me get the
Okay.
Gooch here. I'll play everybody about the Gooch here. Then let's all take a look at the Gooch.
Background about growing up, what your family life was like, where you grew up,
Well,
stuff like
maybe.
that.
So my
Is it playing?
grandparents are Greek.
It was
Yeah, it
playing.
was playing.
Background about growing up, what your family life was like, where you grew up, stuff like that.
So my grandparents are Greek immigrants that ended up in Idaho. So I have parents, both sets, born and raised here. But I have a twin. In the early 60s, my dad was in the army as an officer stationed in Greece. And my twin sister and I have a unique background. We were born on actually Greek soil in the Athens, where my family comes from. So we hold dual citizenship. So the first formative years was spent in Europe and Greece specifically. And then my dad went to Chicago. And we were in Chicago for a period of time while he worked Army intelligence. And then he retired and took a federal government job in the Bay Area, San Francisco. And we moved out there in the 60s. And my formative years were spent in the Bay Area.
Can you describe a little bit of
Now, when you hear about this Greek Army intelligence, what's the first thing that comes to your all's minds?
Michael Thieves.
What's your brain hold?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, what was that?
Michael Thieves.
Well, there you go. That's a great connection. I wouldn't even consider him. Man, that's an interesting point. Because he was doing more than just pornography, wasn't he?
Yeah, he has a direct connection to the Manson murders. The night of.
He also has a direct connection to 2 degrees separated from comedian Joey Diaz. He used to deliver drugs to his house when
Correct.
Whitney and Bobby Brown lived
know
there.
that.
Correct.
Whitney, by Joey Diaz's own admission, he used to be Whitney and Bobby Brown's drug mule, and he said he delivered their house in Atlanta.
Oh,
Dana
shit.
pointed out to me that was Michael Thieves' home they were renting.
Wow. I had no idea. I mean, I'm showing that I'm shocked. I'm not really shocked.
I mean, we really should be. It's what we should. It should be the standard of which we expect with these Muppets. You got Joe Rogan's got all sorts of Jeffrey Epstein's buddies on there. Lawrence Krauss, Michio Kaku.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if Stephen Hawking could talk or was real, he would probably have him on there. He had Jeffrey Epstein's chef, his personal chef, right?
Right.
Duncan Trussell has on Damien Eccles, the convicted kid-diddling child murderer, right? I mean, again, these Muppets, who's linked in with the Neo process of Marilyn Manson and Johnny Depp and Joe Rogan's other best friend, Doug Stanhope.
Right. Which sucks. I like Doug, but I was always
down there.
Yeah, it is. It's a very very odd.
I don't want to say, I don't want to call it a process enclave, but I'm damn near ready to, friend.
I mean, you wouldn't be far off though. I mean, it's perfect too because it's like right on the border,
I've been there. Yeah, I've been there. It's a great location for hood rat shit for sure.
Oh yeah.
So when I think of besides Stevens, I mean, that's a great. You just blew up my brain hole a bit there with that one. I didn't even consider that. It makes a lot of sense though. I was thinking Project Gladio, more Colby Squares. That's what we're seeing with the Army intelligence operations in Greece at that time. That's all Colby Squares Gladio shit that this guy came out of.
Yeah, that's true.
Gooch's dad.
Yeah, that makes sense. I could definitely see that. And also, I've heard from sources that I won't name, but there are classified ads in, I want to say EchoCat found it was 1981, I believe. Somebody ran a classified ad in the Los Angeles Times. They ran it for, I think, 4 or 5 days in a row, and it was literally just saying, I'm looking for Lieutenant or Colonel Paul Tate, Lieutenant Paul Tate. I know where you were that night. You need to call me. And then it just disappears. Allegedly, he was not where he said he was. He was not on base watching the wrecking crew the night of the murders. I'm not going full Miles Mathis with it, saying that he was involved, but I think that he was
in the know.
Allegedly, he was hanging out with his very dear friend Jay Sebring quite a lot, and he had access to Jay's boat, and Jay's boat was not only the home of some LSD manufacturing for the Brotherhood of Eternal Love, according to Paul Tate, but they would take ladies out there. So there's very good likelihood that Paul was out there,
Sounds all above board, doesn't it, ma'am?
Swinging it, yeah.
So you were just mentioning the theory of him being involved. Like I've never heard that before.
Dude, you gotta go Miles Mathis. You get to lose your mind a little bit. So this is
you're gonna lose your mind a lot of it.
This is a guy who will pull conspiracy out of whole cloth. Basically, he says that like the Manson crimes were completely fake. It's all actors. It's a NATO operation involving like spears, stuff like that. Really crazy.
Pretty wild.
And it's unfortunate because I can't even remember what genealogy I was working on, but like I had gotten through all of it, and when I was looking up just to find extra sources on the last person that I was making a connection on, it was like somebody's like great-great-grandfather. He had it in there, but he had missed like the grandfather and the dad and was just sort of like making this leap. And I'm like, dude, you're not dumb. You're clearly out here just shit-coating everything, but he does shit-coat literally everything. Like so everything's a psyop. It's not real. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. He's kookifying everything.
Yeah.
It just makes the rest of us.
I'm not sure if we're talking about the same chef here on this comment I just made. Adam Perry Lang seems to be cooperating with law enforcement investigations, it says, from all records I can read, but not dead. Maybe a different chef. I'm not sure, but yeah, this all sounds very interesting. And what a weird alibi. The wrecking crew, really? Phil Spector, Mr. Process, Phil Spector's wrecking crew? Are you fucking kidding me? What a weird alibi. I know, but I'm just saying. But why do you? I'm just saying. There's a namesake for all of these things, right?
Correct.
Yeah. I don't think that they're too far disconnected from one another there whatsoever. I saw a comment earlier talking about, speaking of Colby's queers. I saw a request for this. So I just want to play it real quick.
You tell me, who is your daddy and what does he do?
Look, all I'm saying is they look a lot alike, and I can put Bill Colby in close proximity, and that he knew Ted Bundy's mother. They went to the same fucking high school together, and he's there in Burlington, Vermont, when Ted Bundy's mother gets knocked up after he gets back from Operation Overcast.
And
where he
she
probably met Manuel
loved
LaBianca.
military men. She loved military men.
There you go. Yes, sir. Yes,
So,
sir.
That was fully admitted by Ted. So,
Oh yeah. Well, I think her second husband was a military dude that adopted Ted.
Almost everyone she ever dated was in the military or in some form of like official uniform.
So if I can bring this kind of full circle back to where you said earlier, sir, we're on the precipice of more murder, satanic styles. I don't disagree, because we see the propaganda ramping up essentially to offset it, right?
Right.
So do we get somebody else's? Is maybe Bill Colby's son has is he gonna come? Is our deputy under Muppet for the Pentagon? What are you named the Muppet? The number 2 dude at the Pentagon underneath Pete Hegseth is Bill Colby's son, Eldridge Colby.
Right.
Just our grandson. His eldest son's eldest son, meaning the very likely contender to hold the seat in the Society of the Cincinnati that Bill Colby once had.
Right.
Is what I'm saying. So is he going to start murking people? Is Eldridge Colby, our Undersecretary of Defense, going to start murking people?
I don't know. I mean, so I don't know if you guys have noticed. I'm sure you have, but we just get like a whole bunch more satanic panic propaganda all of a sudden.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Like,
they started tying with the QAnon, right? They kind of
Right.
matched it in like a satanic QAnon kind of. Now they're going to throw the Epstein in there, kind of mashup.
Right.
Do you think that has anything to do with Mr. Hegseth being a member and close confidant of one Doug Wilson of Christ Church of Moscow, Idaho?
Imagine that scene. So you
Yeah.
got Doug Wilson, Pete Hegseth in that scene out of Moscow, Idaho, right? That is
Right.
his pastor. You are correct, ma'am. You got the Gooch there. You got these quadruple homicides. You got drug trafficking. You got Mexican cartels. There's a lot of shit popping off there. You got Sam Bankman-Fried running a cash for crypto scam along with a money launderer from BCCI, Mr. John Shalapin, the guy who invented Inspector Gadget cartoon, same dude. He's an old school money launderer that is in league with Sam Bankman-Fried. No one's been charged for this cash for crypto scam with that Moonstone Bank they were running. So what a weird environment it was popping off around those murders, right? Doug Wilson.
Right.
You know, you got him up there fighting whatever war. You know, you can call him a Nazi. He certainly sides with them. I think him and the Mormons get, the Deseret Mormons that I was talking about before, the ones that think they live in the nation of Deseret, not America, like Kerry Tolmie's forefathers.
Right.
They're all over the Idaho 4 situation. University of Idaho President Scott Green, pioneering Mormon family, the Greens. The Gooch, her husband, pioneering Mormon family. Dylan Mortenson's pioneering Mormon family. Would you believe that the Gooches, the Mortensons, the Greens, and another one that's involved in the propaganda, the Jensens, these pioneering Mormon families were on the same fucking wagon train.
Right.
They were in the same spot, 1854 in Nebraska, by the mothership's own records of these pioneering wagon trains. And you mean to tell me you're going to sit there and tell me that they're involved in around the murder, the power, and the propaganda of the situation in the Idaho 4? 160 years later? You do the math. I'm not Asian.
Right. I mean,
that's kind of what I'm saying. Is that's what I mean by that. And you may have some thoughts as a former Mormon yourself. The nation of Deseret, they promised they would take this bitch back over and wage war against Joseph Smith's murder.
Right.
There's a name for it. They got a fancy name for it, but
I don't necessarily have any like flushed out ideas about it. But I mean, to say that they're not major power players in all of this is just like pure ignorance, because I mean, they're everywhere. They are literally everywhere. I mean, the CIA literally recruits from the LDS Church just because of the culture.
Not very good ones if RR channel works for him. He's a real muppet. But no, I don't disagree, sir. I mean, I've made comments myself that in my nearly 21 years in military police for the Air Force, I was recruited by every 3-letter agency at some point in time in my career because even though I wasn't a practicing mothership Mormon anymore, on my dog tags I left it on there because at the time if you didn't have anything on there, they're like, oh, you don't have any God, dude? What are you, fucking atheist? So people get real weird to combat when you don't have a belief in God. So I just left it Mormon. You know what I mean?
Right.
No one asked any questions anyway. You're like, oh, don't ask the Mormon any questions.
Yeah, yeah.
Weird,
Don't want to start that conversation.
you don't want to open up that fucking Pandora's box.
Yeah, it's just really weird. I mean, especially living out here though, out in the state of Deseret. I mean, they are just everywhere. And like, so I ran for office twice and for a state level position.
I remember you saying that, dude. Libertarian stuff, right?
Yep, right. And I just got a peek behind the curtain. You know, I spent a lot of time up on Capitol Hill, and it's really, I mean, so I was actually pulled in to a meeting with the state treasurer, okay, to go in and go teach him about crypto and blockchain technology. Mind you, that they were voting on this on Capitol Hill already for like a year before. And I just barely got called in to teach the treasurer, the state treasurer, about blockchain and stuff like this. But
just because they're a treasurer, they don't manage money. You know that, right? Like these things,
yeah,
that's a lost concept for these positions.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But being able to get up there and like hear the conversations when people don't know you're there, you know, these people
they don't care that you're there.
Everywhere.
You're a fly on the wall. You're going to be gone the next day, and then somebody else will come in. Another one like you. They're like, we got another one like you coming up here in 2 weeks, buddy.
100%.
I survived 7 years, almost 7 years in the swamp in DC, man. At Pentagon.
Right. So you know, it's same thing.
I know what you're talking about. You know.
Yep. Yeah, it
seems pretty rampant throughout every. But it does seem pretty rampant throughout every level of our government. But again, I know we're about to have a riot if we don't turn the tables back over to Miss Dudon. I know, man. I want your opinion on this because we see time and time again the process infiltrates every levels of our government. We have numerous examples of this.
Right.
You know what? So, how widespread do you think some of that infiltration is in fact going on? Right.
Who are you asking? Me? Don't listen to the chat. Yes. Don't let them run your show. This is your show.
I'm not letting them run their show. I want to know about the process and the infiltration because I was actually on schooling folks on Twixter today regarding these matters with Nexium in the Albany chapter of the process, right? So we see that we know that they went underground and we know that they later infiltrate even major epicenters of activity. For example, if we were to apply that standard saying the process Albany chapter, which we have documented evidence of from William Morrison of Skinny Puppy and William Sims Bainbridge in a photograph with the Albany chapter 4 years after they allegedly closed. That's weird. Right? So if we take that and call that the process, well, we see how Nexium infiltrated every layer of government within the New York state system, from all the way down from the cities to the state representation, you know, governor, attorney general, right, to the U.S. representation, like Kristen Gillibrand, U.S. senator who replaced Hillary Clinton. Now her father and her stepmother / first cousin, she's got a family poll herself. You know, they're both members, right? Bill Clinton's best friend, Richard Mays, the first black man he appointed, the first black man to the Arkansas Supreme Court when he was governor. Richard Mays, they've been longtime best friends since then. He was a member in-house counsel for Nexium. So that's what I'm saying. Like we can see kind of using that as an example. These things are still going on today. Ira Reiner, Charles Manson's friend, was a district attorney who let Bob Cocaine Evans walk on the murder of Roy Radin. So, like, I just feel like if we apply the known knowns of those principles, we got a lot of that shit popping off today. I'm just waiting for I'm wondering where did your thoughts on how large scale this infiltration is, and possibly who's some processing Muppets in government, you know, like Moonbeam Jerry Brown style, right?
Well, there's J. Stanley Pottinger, who, from all of my research, is literally the person that helped set up the process doing their program at Willowbrook. And the more that I've researched, because, you know, you were talking earlier, Jacob, about you know, the whole like Satanism and MK Ultra angle, and I completely agree with you. There's another element though that has been kind of refocused for me specifically in regards to Willowbrook, which is MK Naomi, because Dr. Saul Krugman, they were running, a lot of people know about, you know, the hepatitis vaccines that they were experimenting on those kids on at Willowbrook, but you know, there's quite there's quite a bit of literature out there, scientific literature, to support that that was actually a very good likelihood the first individuals that were released, I hate to say it that way, into the community with what would later become known as the HIV infection was actually
Oh.
those kids at Willowbrook.
Right.
Because there was a
Oh,
lot
that's
of cross
fucking interesting,
contamination with
man.
that research, and Krugman was being funded by the Army Defense Research Team for that stuff specifically. He got $124,000 to do that
Mhm.
research. And he was also being
Yeah.
supported by Merck and DuPont and all these other
Well,
fucking
and
weird
a lot of
companies.
that
DuPont,
stuff
you mean like the
came.
French Society of Cincinnati DuPonts?
Yeah, the
Yep.
DuPonts that Andy Warhol and
Yeah.
Salvador Dali drugged the DuPont twins and tried to get them to make incestuous porn on camera. Yeah, that
Totally
same
normal.
family.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. It's multi-generational with these families. That's a great example of
A lot
the
of
DuPont's multi-generational stuff, right?
a lot of that research you're talking about came from Plum Island, which is where allegedly they were only working on animals and infectious diseases up there. But I mean, this,
Oh
this is
no.
this is the lab that Lyme disease came out of, and I mean, MK Naomi,
Also, the home to the Montauk
MK
Monster, sir.
Search. Yes, yeah, it's all
I
related
was
up there in
I
New
was
York.
fishing out in Montauk when this thing washed ashore that weekend.
Oh, lovely.
You know? I didn't.
Yeah.
That's
No,
what all the locals
I've
said. All the locals said this. I was like, "What the fuck is?" You know, everyone's talking about it. Like, well, what was it? What is it? And they're like, "Oh, it's got to be one of those animals from the lab offshore where they're testing on these things."
No,
That's what everyone said in real time.
this stuff that I'm talking about with these hepatitis vaccines, this is not coming out of Plum Island. This is something that is not confirmed under the umbrella of MK Naomi, but it does fall within the guidelines of what MK Naomi
Okay.
was doing, and it was strictly being done out
At
of
Willowbrook?
Willowbrook only. That's it, because they basically justified it as, you know, all of these mentally handicapped children and the
Yep. Okay.
rate of infection from admission when they started doing this was, I think, within 4 to 6 months, it was 100% everybody in the facility
Oh
had
my God.
hepatitis. And it became a really big problem besides just the abuses that, like, you know, Geraldo, don't get me wrong, I think that he's a shit coder, but that was really like the story that put him on the map. And he
Oh yeah.
actually, he
For
did
sure.
help some of those people. So I will give him credit for that, because like the doctor that, you know, gave him the key there, like that doctor had just been fired for giving testimony about the abuses that were going on there because they didn't have enough funding. He literally slipped Geraldo a key and was like, go with cameras, don't tell them that you're showing up, and just start filming. And that's what he did. And so, you know, I give credit where it's due, and I
Right.
think that it was a shock to the system. But again, it's real fucking weird that we have Geraldo going in and doing that, and less than a year later, we have Mr. J. Stanley Pottinger, Iran-Contra, Epstein financial partner,
There
Epstein
we go.
friend, stepping in under the cloak of the federal government to fix the programs at Willowbrook while they are running this unethical experimentation on mentally handicapped children without the consent of the parents.
Well, there
So
you
this
go,
sounds
man. That's
this
what
sounds
I was
more
really
like a
getting at here
Tuskegee
with
thing.
Iran. Oh, hold on 1 second, sir. That's what I was getting at with the title of, you know, The Process Church Meets Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein learned how to be a money launderer from this Muppet. And I just left him zoomed in
Yes.
here. Look at this Muppet. Don't just want to hit him right in the face. He's got a real punchable face, doesn't he? So what a
Yeah,
weird
this
epicenter of activity you've discovered there, man, with the Willowbrook situation. A guy who's at the he's a Colby queer if I've ever seen one.
Well, isn't it interesting that Joshua Zeman omitted that the process had a volunteer program? Oh, did I mention that Pottinger showed up the same time the process started their program? Did I leave that
That's
out?
so.
Okay.
So
And it's the chronology of events it's always telling, right?
so exactly how is Pottinger tied to the process?
Well,
Like
I'm making the
Willowbrook.
argument because of the
Right.
Willowbrook connection, because,
Right.
you know, I haven't returned to the topic in a long time, but, you know, we have his connections to Epstein, which are well documented. He's the person
Right.
that basically helped get Jeffrey Epstein rich, like back in the day, you know what I mean? But
Right.
he ends up being involved, and it does seem odd out of nowhere why this is kind of the hill that he wants to die on, of getting this federal funding to improve Willowbrook, which nothing
Right.
fucking improved. Nothing was improved.
It got a
Nothing
lot worse.
changed, you know?
Yeah,
They just,
exactly. I was
yeah,
just gonna say
exactly.
that.
Like, he came in as basically the shit coder, right? Just like,
Right.
you know, because he's under the federal government. That's the
Right.
federal money. That's their argument. They're like, oh, we have this federal money going in and we want to be involved. And, you know, we're going to bring in these groups to help with this rehabilitation, these outdoor programs. And like, I literally have photos of Processians taking these kids out to a park. And I'm sorry to say it, but I'll show the picture on a stream and people can draw their own conclusions. I don't see anything else where like some of these female Processians are straight up like throwing pussy at these mentally handicapped kids. Like,
Yep. I mean, I
it's
expect that. They're,
disgusting.
they're gonna do it
Right.
all, right? I mean, they're banging German
Yeah,
shepherds a decade prior. They're gonna do it all.
correct.
Right.
It's disgusting. And it's like they have no medical training. They have none of that.
Right.
But I had
Why
just
are they even
discovered,
there?
When
correct.
your
Well, I
gods
had
and
just
heroes and earth laying on of hands and healing folks, man, do you really need training for that?
well, here's the thing is that I have just found, and it's not anywhere else, so I know that I'm breaking it first, but there is an interview. Robert Grimston speaks for the first time in 10 years, and it's right before all of this happens. And him and Marianne had just got done having a meeting with an evangelical preacher that many people may be familiar with, one Catherine Coleman. And that's when they decide that they want to go into their medical faith healing, and they start scheduling all of these appointments in New York with these high-ranking government officials. And, you know, Bobby's talking about how Marianne de Grimston's mother was healed of emphysema because one of the Processians laid hands. They've cured brain
Oh,
tumors,
good
all kinds
Lord.
of stuff.
You know,
Good
OJJ
Lord.
knows all about the laying out of hands. That's deep Mormon stuff. They have a deep belief in that stuff.
Yeah.
They'll hit you with some laying on. You got a cold. They'll hit you. Come in Sunday with a cold. They'll hit you with some laying on of hands real fast.
But do people
Yeah.
pass out? Do they hit the floor?
Oh, they'll do some shit. I mean,
Dude, some.
Okay,
I've seen some
some
wild
or
stuff
all the
like that,
time,
yeah.
though? That's my question.
No, it's not as dramatic.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
because
it's not quite
There's no
such a
showmanship.
prevalent.
Yeah,
because with Catherine Coleman, it was every time. Like every time.
Yeah, they
that
do
he
more of a
laid
P.T.
hands,
Barnum
people were
situation,
falling.
right? Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead, ma'am. What were you saying?
No, I was just saying, like, it's every time with Catherine Coleman. Like, there was a
Right.
huge investigation, like, you know, I would say, like, not a Christian coalition per se, but people trying to bring in doctors, like these theologians, like, what's going on here? Is this hypnotism? Is this some sort of,
No.
like,
Are you a
psychic
dentist?
contact? You know, something like that. And because everybody would just fall to the ground. So it's like, God only knows what these Processians were doing to these kids. And I mean,
Or
isn't it
Satan
just
only knows. One of the two,
well,
right?
no, I
Or
would
the
say
SM or
that
the Satan.
it would be Jehovah, not
I was just
Satan.
gonna say
But
that.
you know, in the argument would be
How
like,
dare you
what the
both
fuck were
correct
they?
me simultaneously in my improper use of process terminologies?
It's the same time the kids start going missing from Willowbrook is when their program
Right.
starts.
I think it's
That's
a
when the
very
first
interesting
problem.
when you get Pottinger in there, Miami, you got what De Grimston living what mile and a half from Willowbrook at the time.
He moves around. No, they're in no. They're in Pound Ridge at that time. They're at Mount Chai when they start
I
that
thought
program.
I thought it was 75. No, this is preceding the breakup in December of 74.
The breakup. Yeah, no, this is preceding the breakup.
No,
No,
ma'am,
kids, no.
I watched the
I'm
entire Netflix series, ma'am. They told me on the Son of Sam series, the Process Church closed officially in 1974.
kids started going missing before the famous cases that people know, and kids started
That's-
going missing when the process showed up. Those children would later be found dead.
So you're saying this dates back to when Lil Aquino was setting up covens in the same immediate
In
vicinity?
Staten Island? Yes, the exact same time.
Oh,
weird,
convenient.
strange,
Mm-hmm.
and that's strange
Correct.
that old Michael Aquino was a
Yeah.
crossover with David Berkowitz, possibly in New York City when he was
Right.
working for was it Merrill Lynch, I believe, or because he worked for them in the early 70s in
Mhm.
between being the assistant for General Patton of whatever he is, the fifth or fourth, whatever. I guess he's the fourth. That apple fell far from the tree. One fought Nazis, the other one hired a Nazi, Satanist style. Anyway, but yeah, that's very interesting though that it goes back even further than that, huh?
Yeah, that's why you got to go back and look.
Time, so time and facts are important, and I want to get your all's thoughts on this. Everyone gets all bent out of shape. Donald Barr did not hire Jeffrey Epstein. I don't care how many times folks repeat it online. I'm not saying that's what Phil is saying here. I'm just using it as an example here. He brings up William Barr. His dad, speaking of the Epstein stuff, his father, Donald Barr, was the head of Dalton School. He didn't get shit canned. He resigned in February, and it's in the New York Times. There's a big article about it. And Epstein gets hired in August. So I don't know how he hires Epstein, but Lord of mercy, have I listened to one more fucking conspiracy culture podcast telling me that he Donald Barr, no, he didn't. Look at a fucking map. Look at anything that has numbers on it. Tell me you know how to read first. All right, well, now we've established that. February of 1970, whatever, 4, I think it was. Might have been 1975 now. There's a lot of weird shit going on in New York City at the time. Now that I think about it, speaking of Dave, this just came to my brain hole. Speaking of David Berkowitz, these time frames that I'm obviously just bullshitting about, and I obviously have a problem with people can't read. What was Jeffrey Epstein doing in Brooklyn around the same time David Berkowitz was doing when he got linked up with the process?
Right. That's a good question.
Because they're from the same immediate vicinity of Coney Island together, right? I wonder what Peter Levenda knows about this. David Berkowitz's friend in high school fucking classmate. These Muppets know each other.
I do have his address on the map, and they're all within walking distance. He's in walking distance from the Process thrift store, from the Process actual house of operations, and also the Scientology org at that time. The reason why everybody says what you're saying is not true is because of the golden calf of the technocracy. That's why. That what she says is written on a stone fucking tablet.
Well, what is old Miss Whitney Webb? I do like folks with alliteration in their names, like you got other JJ here. He's got alliteration, double J's. What's her thoughts on Jeffrey Epstein using a magician's signature of the infinity symbol to sign in and out of prison from his 13-month stint, 13 of an 18-month stint in a wing of the jail that he built himself for that, and where he stayed Friday and Saturday nights? Go fuck yourself. What a ridiculous thing! To call that a conviction or a sentence is really difficult for me.
No kidding.
But he signed it, and it's infinity. To me, that's obvious. He's an occultist,
right? So. One thing, Dana, I'm kind of curious about, without, I guess, revealing too much, where does Cropsey play into all of what you're doing?
You talking about the documentary?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've seen it, I assume.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you remember it's in the later half of the documentary where they're talking about Veronica Lucan, how she was kind of crazy, like ran her own cult, so to speak, and was basically a satanic panic gal, right? And said that there was a cult operating, and that cult happened to be named the Process Church of the Final Judgment. And you had locals who also said this, correct? Well, then you have that interview with the officer where they're sitting down talking to him, and he says, yeah, Satanists is just like Catholics. Catholics believe in Jesus and God, and Satanists believe in Satan. And then they say, well, would they operate, in mental asylums or in the woods? And he goes, well, you might find them in both. And then they're like, do they use children? And he says, I would rather not answer that question. And they cut the fucking interview. That there, the process was established at Willowbrook, and those crimes that get pinned on Andre Rand, those date back to the time of their program. So whether Veronica Lucan was fucking crazy or not is irrelevant to me. The fact that was omitted, that they had a well-established program by the time that children started going missing, that from what I have found was sanctioned by J. Stanley Pottinger and the fucking feds to get them in there, and Henry Kissinger. That's a huge sin of omission, in my opinion. And then you have the things that are in Maury Terry's files, because my dear friend Parker, this is something that she had caught when Maury Terry was investigating. They were tailing somebody, and they were outside of this house, and Andre Rand, his fucking van was outside of this house. So one of the investigators, like they're undercover, right? Like these are mostly
Right.
retired guys. They go and knock on the door. Andre Rand is there, but guess who answers the door? Someone that's wearing the current modern day process uniform with the Foundation Faith of God necklace around their neck.
No
No
shit.
Do you think that that information is relevant? I don't know. I sure fucking
Yeah.
do. And then we
Right.
have the rumors from, rumors that I've proven are completely correct. They're grounded in reality about Robert Grimston sniffing around pretending to be a journalist on Staten Island. Well, guess what? He did get one article published in the New York Times, and it was some weird shit about Kurt Cobain. So guess what?
Yes,
He
ma'am.
was sniffing around the investigation of Jennifer Schweiger's murder. He was pretending
Right.
to be a fucking journalist while he was there. There were more than
And they
one
got-
Processian living on Staten Island. There was also
Right.
Father Malachi, aka Malachi McCormick, who lived even closer to where this shit was going on.
And if I can
So
throw in a
wild.
little tidbit of information in regard to the powerful nature of their activities in the 90s, after they closed in 1974, Robert de Grimston was able to get 30,000 copies of that article printed, 30,000 copies in the New York Times.
Correct.
Someone inside had in a very Operation Chaos Fight Club style situation, someone had to be on the inside of that situation to hit the green light.
Right.
So
Interesting.
I'm not saying it's necessarily corporatized power, but it is baked in.
Right. I mean, clearly there's somebody on the inside.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think that the other important thing to say to piggyback on a comment you made there, Dana, was about the comparisons of Satanism, Catholicism. Well, just like Christianity, there's 192 official sects of Christianity, I guess, right? Something like that now.
Right. Somewhere around there.
There's at least that many of Satanism.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I
a
would
mirror image.
back that up. Well, I was actually talking about that on my show last night, is that the problem with Satanism, and especially like investigating it or anything, is it's decentralized. So literally anyone can just go start their own shit.
And that's why I think it's way more than 190, because that 190 requires a lot of like centralized. You got to have a lot of file. You got to file some permits, buddy. You need
Right.
a permit. You got to file a permit. Satanists aren't filing permits, dude. They're not organizing and
No,
incorporating
I mean-
and things like that. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, you can,
You know what I'm saying?
it can literally just be like kids in high school starting a coven or a cult
Well,
or whatever.
Let's not
Or
start
all the
those
way
rumors,
to-
sir. Do they have black t-shirts on? Do they have long hair? I knew it.
Yes, they do.
Satanic Panic.
They wear
I'm getting
Metallica
panicked, sir.
t-shirts and they just listen to heavy metal. and
Pantera?
get
They had
framed.
Pantera on all shit. We're all in trouble.
Yeah, they just get.
That's amazing. I didn't know that about you.
What do you know?
That you're a musician. But that's why I'm interviewing you today, so I can get to know you.
So I'm a musician.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck that mean? Make magic or something? What is musician?
I think you're confusing that.
Yeah, I'm not no musician. I make music. I make
I-
music. And that's not all I do. I make music, I act. I'm a TV star too, a young mogul.
Just really quick, I think you're confusing.
I'm not confusing nothing because you don't know. You thought that all I was a magician or whatever the fuck you said.
See, that's what I think you think I said. I
No,
said musician, not magician.
I don't think, baby. I don't think. What is that? That's ghetto. I don't think. I know.
So you
think.
I didn't say magician, Suki. I said musician. And I think you are a musician.
No, baby. I do music.
So you just really quick, for the record, could you say you don't think you're a musician?
I'm not none of that.
But then after that, you just said I do music.
Yeah, I do music.
So in other words,
Yeah.
you're a musician.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Are you a musician?
Definitely not a musician.
So, speaking of magicians, though, and people I think are magicians, again, is Epstein dead? Is he alive? I mean, I think Dana sure has an opinion on the matter. But, wouldn't it be for a magician like Epstein or an occultist who claims to be a magician, not a musician, like Epstein, faking your death, I feel like that's got to be like up in the upper echelon of magical acts, right? Within the little stupid systems.
Yeah, it totally is. I mean, if you go back and look at vaudeville and stuff. I mean, this is totally actually a pretty standard stage illusion, you know. It's
Okay,
faking-
please
faking
continue.
your
I
death.
was commenting on the chat. Go ahead, sir. Stage
Well,
illusion
just-
from vaudeville, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
Faking your death.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay.
I mean that's a whole part of it, right? And
I thought my idea of vaudeville though, bud, is, and I'm not besmirching your statements. I'm interested, but I'm just saying I have a very different understanding of vaudeville. Apparently, I picture Harry Houdini getting shot like right in this area with a cannonball. Like I don't know why I don't have much respect for vaudeville, but
well, no, I
like
mean
where that's at.
vaudeville was just like more of a time period than anything. It was a style of entertainment that took place on stages, and then this is
So it didn't always involve cannonballs in the gut.
No, not always.
Okay, fair enough.
Sometimes, but that was more of a that was more of a sideshow trick than anything. But I mean, you know, this is kind of a pretty standard illusion, you know. In fact, like catching a bullet in the mouth. I mean, all of these sorts of things are very classic tricks that do kind of mirror occult practices. So, you know,
that's an interesting. So it's kind of like a commercialized version in which to take their occult practices and maybe even introduce them to the masses, huh? A little initiation, perhaps.
I think so.
You initiating me right now? Are you a magician?
No, definitely not a
musician.
No.
You told me you're a musician, sir. I get the two confused. If musicians or magicians, dude. I don't know what's going on here.
That clip cracks me up every time.
I think she's actually never started.
Yeah, I do music. Okay.
Like, I don't know who that lady is, the music that she does, but I love that clip.
It's just ridiculous.
I know. I think that's interesting because all of this Hollywood stuff and the occultism probably started from somewhere, and what you're saying about vaudeville stuff is kind of making a lot of sense in my brain hole at the moment.
Right. Well, I mean, it does kind of transfer over, right? Because
who financed vaudeville, right? Wasn't that John Kennedy's dad, right?
Right. Well, no,
was his name John Kennedy? What was his name? Give me a name, sir.
I mean, there's a ton of backers. I mean, P.T. Barnum was a huge financier of vaudeville.
Joe Kennedy. Well, he owned RCA Pictures, my friend.
Right.
That was a major vaudeville production company, right?
Right.
Or one of their studios, right?
Right.
At the time that he owned it, like he was
right.
old.
And this is like right when the talkies are coming out. So
yeah, the talkies. That's a fun statement, right?
Yeah, the talkies replaced, you know, stage performance.
Yeah,
so.
Charlie Chaplin, right?
Right.
Exactly. Now the Chaplin House is an interesting, and the Houdini for that matter. Both of these homes, and they're all in the Laurel Canyon scene. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
yep.
When we think of weird scenes inside the canyon, and McGowan covers some of the historical stuff in that book. You know, is what you're saying kind of computes along with the same lines of what he's talking about. If it came from somewhere else, right? Like it had much like the Son of Sam cult in the 70s, there was an operating occult system before the process showed up in town.
Oh, hey, look, our channel showed up.
No, are you kidding me?
Nope.
We have a round of applause. There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no our channel's here, dude. I don't see him anywhere, dude. Are you kidding me?
Oh, he's there.
Are you trolling me right now?
No, he's there. I see him too.
Nope.
Oh, maybe mine's just going super slow. There's no way I haven't blocked. There's no way. I've offered him free Patreon subscriptions. There's no way I'm blocking this man. My favorite CIA AI Muppet from Langley, Bill Colby Ballwasher.
Right.
I don't see him. Did he change his avatar? Dude, what is going on here? Are you hiding from your? What is happening here? Well, I'll try. I don't doubt y'all. I just want to take a round of applause, have a moment to recognize those Muppets of Langley decide to finally show up.
Right.
Our channel, you're still my favorite CIA AI Muppet, Bill Colby Ballwashing bot. Here you've been spreading a lot of false rumors about me. I love it. You can still go fuck yourself though. Tell those Muppets of Langley to go fuck themselves as well.
But yeah, it's kind of interesting you bring up Laurel Canyon because I mean we also have the Houdini Mansion in Laurel Canyon, and
you know who owns it?
Who owns it now?
Mr. Process, Rick Rubin.
Oh, does he? That actually does not surprise me. That does not surprise me. I mean, it's usually rented out to like a lot of musicians. I think that's where they've partially filmed that Foo Fighters movie, Studio 666.
And you can hear more about that on Operation GCD Patreon, sir. We did it smells like Laurel Canyon on part of my series of comparing the grunge scene to that. We did a Troublemaker Jonas in the chat tonight. He brought that to my attention, dude. Taylor Sheridan, the drummer, dies weeks after they do that film. Are you fucking kidding me, dude?
Right. Yeah. And dies of an enlarged heart, allegedly.
Well, enlarged something, all right? Probably something enlarged put into his heart, like a vampire.
Right. That does not surprise me that Rick Rubin owns that, though. Not at all.
I think if I'm not mistaken, I believe by Flea Zone admission from Red Hot Chili Peppers, that's where they stayed when they did Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic. Which I mean, let's talk about Crowley shit right in the title, bud.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right in your face hole, dude. Right in your face hole. Sorry, man.
There's so many albums that were recorded there, which is weird because it was never Houdini's house. He only stayed there for a couple of months.
I've actually looked into that. No one really knows where Houdini's house was, it seems. They just call multiple properties the Houdini estate.
Right.
But they all have tunnels.
Yeah, and at one point in time,
Hefner's house, the P. Diddy's, right?
Right.
You know, Bill Miller's dad.
The Houdini's house or Houdini mansion estate, whatever, was connected to the log cabin at one point.
And there you go. Thanks for bringing it back home to the vaudeville situation. So that was the Tom Mix log cabin before it was Frank Zappa.
Right.
Tom Mix learned how to be a cow. He's actually the one who trained John Wayne to be a cowboy, speaking of Spawn Ranch. And Tom Mix falls within this whole New England blue blood situation. So I think he kind of applies in that regard. He's of the Mayflower family, so that mix. And on top of that, he was learned by Wyatt Earp. That's who taught him how to do cowboy stuff in Hollywood.
I mean, shit, if you're going to learn how to do cowboy shit, learn from a cowboy, I guess. Yeah.
Might as well give Wyatt Earp a call.
No
Long
kidding.
Beach, New York, yes, sir. Also giving a shout on the Ultimate Evil. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting geographical locations in the Ultimate Evil I think are yet to be explored.
No kidding.
Activities that have gone in. And, you know, Maury Terry fought so much propaganda and backlash that I don't, you know, I'm not sure if Dana necessarily agrees with me, but I think there's a lot more fruits to be born from his efforts and work, and that's why a lot of his archives are still being restricted today by the likes of folks like Josh Seaman.
And James Franco. And
not James Franco. The ardent raper of young girls at his acting school. I mean, allegedly.
And Satanist.
And the guy who got the rights to the Ultimate Evil and then made a YouTube series bad mouthing Maury Terry. This is the exact backlash I'm talking about. I believe Wheat Carr is a hero in that tale for some reason. That's strange.
Right.
Well, that rendition, right?
I did a really fascinating breakdown that someone, one of my close friends, sat there and really evaluated the entire series, and it's very interesting, the conclusions that are drawn. But you know, I mean, if you go and watch The Deuce, it is the Ultimate Evil with the occult stuff completely removed. All the human trafficking is there, though, from James Jimmy Boots Rothstein. All that stuff is there. The pimping, the fucking porn and Yonkers, the underage shit, the coin machines.
And they're celebrating it, right?
Oh, yeah. And it's very violent. I think that it was an accurate, observation with obviously a lot of sins of omission. But, I mean, we've seen that Josh Zeman writes up bullshit NDAs and then doesn't enforce them. And we have no proof that he has legal authority over Maury Terry's estate because he's changed his story on that. Him and Tom O'Neill like to play games with Ed Sanders files and pretend that they're legally a part of Maury Terry's estate, which they're fucking not. So again, I don't know why anybody listens to these two.
My favorite moment in these Muppets Tales of Muppetries is the fact that James Franco, or not James Franco, the Demon's just going to try to remove the death mask chapter from the Ultimate Evil and pretend like it didn't happen. And we're like, I don't have I don't own these rights. I just removed the chapter. Yeah, go fuck yourself, buddy. Because that's a proto smiley face killing, if you ask me. And again, I just sort of it's the same continuity of individuals in these cult practices that are committing these smiley face killing or modern day human ritual sacrifices today by modern day Satanists of a Nazi variety. Because I've seen the swastikas at a number of these sites to know otherwise that it ain't Nazi varieties.
Right. I was actually going to ask you, Dana, why do you think people actually do listen to them?
Well, I don't know. It's
that clip about magical magicians, buddy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I think that Josh himself, you know, he started with Cropsey. He comes from Staten Island, so it's like, you know, he's a local guy. He's a local meatball. Just talking
Hey, you can trust this meatball.
Yeah,
Right.
you know, we're just talking about, you know, the boogeyman from where I grew up, you know.
Yeah,
and so it's like,
right.
That's how he sold it, though. That is how he sold. That's how that was sold.
That's exactly how he sold it. And he's
100%.
full of shit. And then I think that with Tom O'Neill, it's, you know, he, for some reason, you know, was platformed so hard. And, you know, his whole, I call him 20-year Tom because it's like bullshit. It didn't take him 20 years to do fuck all.
Right.
And I think that because he left things so open, and especially when you actually read his footnotes, he stole a lot of Ed's shit. I'm going to be laying out a
Right.
project of that in detail.
Shocker.
I don't know why
Yeah.
people listen to him. Again, it's, you know, why was he immediately on Joe Rogan? Why is Candace Owens
Right.
pushing it? Oh, is it because they all partied at Peter Thiel's house? I don't know. Maybe.
Right. It's just like this invisible
Candy Hook
hand.
gets more suspect by the day, doesn't she? Miss Candace Owens there. Old
Yeah,
Candy
a
Hook.
little bit weird, little bit fucking odd, you know? It's like, why is Chaos Peter Thiel's favorite book? That's fucking weird.
That is
That
fucking
guy.
weird. Yeah.
Who-
Out of
and,
everybody.
you know, it begs the question of who finances that kind of operation, just the publication of, et cetera. Is it the CIA? Because I would argue it's probably MI6 because they badmouth the CIA like crazy in there, but there ain't no mention of MI6.
I mean,
Interesting.
he makes a lot of reaches, you know. I think the most valuable information that is to be gleaned from Chaos is what I term as the four, which is Thomas Michael Harrigan, Charles Decaux, Billy Doyle, and Pick Dawson. I think that he did get unique information on those individuals from like family members and before Decaux died, but everything else is either from Ed's stuff or, you know, just other shit that he pulled from, you know, whether it's Vincent Bugliosi, whatever. And again,
Right.
give the guy his flowers. He showed that Bugliosi was a scumbag.
Oh, he left him flowers.
Right.
Old Tom's a queen.
Well,
Well,
he's a power
it begs the
bottom,
question,
but-
though, what he's trying to do. Like, what is the purpose of his, his narrative he's trying to push?
Yeah.
Because, you know, you see it, then he goes on, as we've discussed, man, he goes on the Tetragrammaton podcast with old Process Rick Rubin, the guy who produces the
Right.
Process album of
I
Skinny
forgot about
Puppy,
that interview.
has James Peorich and Boyd Rice at his home while doing so in Malibu by the admission of the bassist for Skinny Puppy, the number 2 in the Satanic Temple, William Morrison. You know, those power bottoms for Satan up there in Salem, Massachusetts, those folks. You know, it begs the question, what are they trying to achieve when Tom goes on there on the Tetragrammaton podcast? That's a deep occult name, if you ask me.
100%.
And they come up with this whole narrative. Oh, the Process of that animal folks in New York, didn't they break up in '84 there, bud? And they're just like chuckling like a bunch of queens together. You know what I mean? Like, all right, guys, what are you trying to achieve here with this? Because they've moved the goalpost, right? And then there's obviously what I'm saying. There's obviously an end game for them in some regard. It's probably stupid Muppet like, but they are stupid Muppets. So what else do you expect?
Yeah. Honestly, I think that's kind of a good question, is because I've always been curious too, especially, you know, watching your stuff, Dana, kind of piecing together the stuff with Tom. It's like, what is the end goal there?
What's the end game, bud?
Right.
There's multiple end games, in my opinion, and I can say this with confidence because it's all I research. In regards to the Charlie stuff, it's, you know, I mean, I've shown the emails. Tom and his team work with the Church of Scientology, so they are protecting Scientology's good name by not having, you know, even though
Good
Charlie
name.
has not been convicted, you know, he wasn't actually involved physically in the crimes of which he was charged as far as the murders. They don't want that tied to the church, right? Because they don't want to have a Scientology serial killer, even though there's so many more serial killers tied to Scientology that
No
people don't know
kidding.
about.
And Mormonism,
And then
like
I think-
Bill Colby's son Ted.
Yeah, well,
He's a
there's
Mormon.
also there's Kenneth Bianchi as well. There's quite a few others.
I'm just saying that, man, just to say, like, we call them Mormons, we call them, you know, they're ancient alien cargo cultists, and they all work together. It seems.
Well, but I'm being specific for a reason because we're talking about the Process and Tom O'Neill. You know what I'm saying? In particular,
Sure.
is that if he's in communication with the church and he's omitting, what was his sticking point in chaos was his stuff with the parole officer, with the clinic. I have David C. Smith, the doctor of the clinic, saying that he saw the family's van parked outside of the fucking process house. The family's hanging out with the process. You have fucking the parole officer in parole reports saying that Charlie is understanding himself for the first time because of Scientology, because of Dianetics.
Right.
But Tom takes liberty with omitting this shit. Why? Because he's protecting the church. There's a financial motive there. I don't buy the whole he's worried about being fair game. Get the fuck out of here. Like, these
No
people have done
kidding.
more to me than they've done to him. He can fuck directly off with that. And
Man, they
again,
knocked
I
on
think
Tony
when-
Ortega's mother's home really hard on their door one time. She got fair game.
whenever he's gay too. And in regards to his research team, like when you look at the genealogy there, that goes directly back into specifically Son of Sam time with like Andrew Crispo and like the leather scene
Right.
circles. So I think that Tom's relationship with this group that he claims to have spent 20 years researching, I think that these people were his friends and he was just trying to find an angle where he could separate himself from it enough. And I also think in regards to the process, I will take credit for it until proven otherwise. I'm not trying to be braggadocious. However, I know that the bitch knows who I am. It's funny. If you go on the Best Friends website today, this just occurred, I think, about 2 weeks ago. Miss Julie Castle, the CEO, the Brigham Young bloodline, so I've been asking for a couple years about where these founders are, where they go when they die, right? Because there's no funerals, there's no records, there's nada. Now all of a sudden we have full obituaries with photos that
No
we've never
shit.
seen before. And now we know at least one founder. She's given the location of one body and it was cremated, but we don't have anything else.
Interesting.
Very suspect.
I think
So it is really kind of just protection of the church.
Well, it is protection, not only of Scientology, it's also protection of the process because and I'm going to be covering it soon, but there was a recent, a bit of a scandal with their crisis PR representative because these people don't know how to handle dealing with anybody that doesn't just bow down to them.
Right.
But,
That's basically true, too, across the spectrum of their activities.
Yeah, no, they literally can't. But, there's the truth about how Best Friends was actually built. It was built on the backs of the fucking children, just like Scientology with the Sea Org. But also they have officially, this person blew the whistle on where the location is of that very strange temple that people have reported seeing from the side of the road that's lit up at night. The cops in Kane County are paid off to not go and respond to the screaming that is heard in the middle of the night. And this has been going on for decades and decades. Employees reporting being fired for getting pregnant. Sounds like the Sea Org, doesn't it? Sounds like Scientology, right?
Right.
So
It does sound
there's
like
a lot to
Scientology.
protect there.
I like the current campaign of former Scientologists pretending like they're like separating themselves from this idea that they're a sex cult. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. You all trade spouses within your fucking cult like it's fucking like you're having a glass of water, dude. You're definitely a sex cult.
Just looking at the Best Friends website real quick, went to who we are and like the founders section, and right at the very top it says crazy ones, misfits, and rebels.
I hate that so much. It's like live, laugh, love, but I want to blow my fucking brains out every time I see it. I'm just like, please stop. Like,
no,
you figure we have an organization of this regard, ma'am, and sir, we would have a national police force that you figure they would take care of this sort of thing, right?
Right.
Those Muppets at Quantico, the Federal Bureau of Investigations.
Right.
I heard they're pretty good about this sort of thing. In fact, I have a clip about how good they are about this sort of thing.
Yeah, anything that the gunman might have dropped or tossed on his way out of the building as he went walking down the street, because that's right in the area there where the surveillance camera got a picture of.
Karate Man. Double leg. The jump kick. The side kick. The roundhouse. The tie kick. Body.
This is the investigation. I mean, a very coordinated effort, John. It appears that they're doing so. I'm sure an expert would be telling us they're doing this in a line as to not miss a thing as they comb through looking for evidence on that property there.
Body.
Rookie mistake here. My apologies. I'm gonna get back in the swing of things. You mean look at the speaking of swing of things? Look at Dan Bongino swinging. You mean to tell me he can't knock out crime? I don't believe it. That man's gonna knock out crime with them punches.
I can't believe he released that shit, or that shit was like real.
That's real, dude. I didn't think that's funny. Yeah, that's fucking real shit.
Yeah,
I like the Fox News. Like, if we had an expert here, they'd be telling you they're walking in a line. They're walking in a line 3 days after that Brown University alleged shooting, and doing so after it snowed. And they're like, "Oh, they're doing their work." I'm like, "You Muppets, you gotta be kidding me, dude."
No kidding. It's like, talk about fucking theater, like, and
3 days.
why?
Yeah.
Like, nobody was even
for
crying
a
for
crime
that.
scene like that, right? No, good.
No kidding. Well, like, nobody was even like crying for that. You know, it's just like nobody expected anything from these people when that investigation began, especially when like the investigators came out and said, "Oh, there's no security footage." It's like everyone was just like, "Okay, whatever." Like,
we had a glitch in the video, like Epstein's cell, dude. There was and then you got Bongino saying, "No, I watched the entire video." I mean, again,
Right.
these people are all Muppets, dude. I can't. Why does anyone listen to any of these people?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's especially.
I might listen to Dan
like-
Bongino to give me some fighting instructions right there. He's look at them swings he had there, dude. He's knock out any kind of crime right there with that punch.
Right. It's just embarrassing. It's just embarrassing. Like, okay, you know, I'm not a huge believer in the FBI, obviously, but like that's the guy, and like other countries can see that, and that's the guy. Like,
well, I'm glad you said that, because I'm actually of the mindset that Donald Trump's been doing that to every department we have in our U.S. federal government, from the Treasury to the education to the Commerce.
Right.
He puts some real Muppets in charge on purpose because he wants to fucking tank all these organizations.
Right.
Why else do you put the lady from WWF in charge of the Department of Education, dude?
I know. What a joke. You know,
we got the guy from Real World. He's running NASA in the Department of Transportation right now. Sean
Right.
Duffy. He's from Real World season 4 or some shit.
Right. It's like you might as
Dan
well.
Bongino's from Rumble, dude, and Fox. We got a Fox News host running the Secretary of War.
Like you might as well just throw like Theo Vaughn somewhere in the mix. You know, it's like
He's hired, dude. Let's run the Department of Energy, dude. He's clearly
Right.
qualified.
Right.
We had a trans
exactly.
Muppet there before running that department, right?
You know, and the one thing I can say about Trump is, at least like with him involved in politics, it's kind of made the veil slip. Like everyone just
Entertaining
sees
at
how
minimum,
fucking
dude.
ridiculous it all is.
That's
Because
what I'm saying. I'm not convinced that's not his goal, dude. He put the
Right.
guy in charge of from Real World in charge of the Department of Transportation and NASA's dual-hatted.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Right. Well, and you know, he's a repeat of Reagan. You know, he's a movie star. He's
Yeah,
television
kind of.
star
I mean,
whatever.
I think he's a slightly different mold. I was just commenting on Reagan. Actually, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. What do you think that he's in that same mold as Reagan?
Well, just because he's a puppet. You know, like he was never this you know
I'm open to
independent.
the idea. I think Reagan's. I mean, we know Trump's connections to things like Roy Cohn and the
Right.
process stuff around him. And Reagan certainly got his own process stuff.
Right. Well, I just think they're all puppets, and more so than just like a normal president, because I mean, a president's kind of a figurehead to begin with, but it's just There's
yeah, don't get me wrong. We see a lot of moron Muppets getting put in
Right.
charge of administrations, but like, I just think he's done it with such a different. He's taken it to a new level, right? I don't know. Maybe
Right.
that's just his personality where he takes things to a new level. Everything's got to be a gold building with his name on it. Like, that
right.
kind
I
of-
mean, it wouldn't be like a direct repeat of Reagan, right? Because
Right.
obviously times are different, and Trump is a different person. But I do think like they are serving the same purpose.
Well, sir. And speaking of serving the same purpose, and what Miss Duda was telling us about Willowbrook, we can thank Ronald Reagan for that.
Right. Right. That
He's
was
the one who
actually
started
something I
sending
was
all
going
that
to
money
mention.
from
Is
the
like
states to private
the-
organizations.
right. The money is coming back in, and it's like bullshit. They were cutting the money, so like nothing
Well,
was going to get better
he
anyway.
cut it all in California, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like there was no more institutions that were state funded. It was all private stuff, and that's what it was 1972, and that's what then elicited the ability for things like Willowbrook to happen.
Right.
Well,
Right.
I mean, the
I know
shit
it's
at,
not a
Willow,
state,
at
but-
Willowbrook was happening prior to that, but again, it's put it in the context of the times. What do we have happen, roughly 48 months later? No, not even 24 months later, church committee hearings, right? And then that's when all this shit goes underground. It's
Well,
like
100%.
MK Ultra
That's-
officially goes
That's what I'm
underground.
saying. So we can see,
Yeah.
looking back, we can kind of see that machinations now, the funding piece, the operational piece. When I thought you said 48 months later, I thought you were going to tell me the process church closed, because that happened. I saw it in the Netflix documentary. You can't tell me otherwise.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
would have
I'm a
been
magician.
1976. They said 1974.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Well, I mean, Tom and Ruth Rubens thought it was 1984, right? And they're like, oh, that weird little enclave in northern New York. Like, what are these Muppets talking about? Like I'm saying, what are they trying to steer here? What are they saying?
William Morrison said that they were active in the 90s.
Really.
So, on and above Ronald Reagan using, obviously being involved in machinations of that regard, he blocks Jim Garrison's investigation. Jim Garrison actually not only indicted Clay Shaw and Kerry Thornley, he indicted another fella, and Ronald Reagan was the governor there in California and said, nope,
Right.
we're not extraditing them, Jim. So we can see him playing that role in that regard. Again, that's all. Everything about that Garrison investigation, in my opinion, is exclusively processing. Because again, he was being invaded by the Process Church at the time in his own district. They hired an
Right.
attorney who was a wandering bishop, Tommy Jude Bomber, who he was already investigating for multiple years. So
Right.
it was not a surprise to Jim Garrison whatsoever. I don't think his files are being sat on by another interesting character who I do believe has a lot of processing connections, not unlike his old friend Mae Russell. Anyhow, Ronald Reagan
Here we
clearly
come
uses
full
so.
circle.
There you go, right? So Uncle Ted made a great comment. I like Uncle Ted's brain hole. It always brings me some great making my brain hole work some days that it ain't working. So Ronald Reagan clearly seems to utilize in a criminal aspect of these operations. So does Moonbeam Jerry Brown, right? Mr.
Right.
Processing according to the Ed Sanders files, right, ma'am?
Yep.
Him and his girlfriend Linda Ronstadt,
And his brother.
part of that Laurel Canyon scene, all of them, right?
Yep.
Yup.
Before he was the governor, his dad, and then when his dad was the governor. But we can see that how these cults are being utilized to increase crime statistics. Hey, we got to get tough on crime, says Jerry Brown. Hey, we got to get tough on crime, says Ronald Reagan. It helps
Right.
them catapult their political fucking campaign.
Right.
These are all part and parcel of the same Muppetry. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
my opinion.
also feeds into the satanic panic. I always say
No, I'm
Manson was
panicked.
the
I'm getting real
pregame.
panicked.
Yeah, I always say Manson was the pregame. That was the first, and then we
I do
have
think you're
these
right. Yeah.
serial killers that come out, but it's so funny because a lot of those serial killers in Santa Cruz have some connections to the process and Mother Underground. So isn't that fucking odd?
Speaking of serial
Another,
killers,
I would argue,
uh,
offshoot, right? The Weather Underground, right?
Correct.
right?
Go ahead, sir.
Does Philip Arthur Thompson have any connection to the process?
I would argue that he does, but I haven't fleshed it all out yet. But I do see hallmarks of processing
Right.
activity, even if it's 4P, 4Pi related.
Right.
Right.
There's just too
That's
much
kind of what I
weird,
was thinking.
there's too much weird shit going on there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And even with the Jim Garrison stuff, because every once in a while I'll go back into the archives, like whether it's way back or newspaper, and like that's where I found that new article where Robert's talking about Mary Ann's mother getting faith healed, whatever. And
So weird.
I found it's 4 pages. It's semi-informative before brand new pages from Jim Garrison's investigation just about the process. And I'm like, imagine that. Thank you so much, Internet. There's always more to be found. People think that these things are open and shut, and they are not.
No, hell no. I mean, that's why we all have shows.
They're not.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot. No, that's a great point. That's what I was saying earlier. There's a lot of grounds, and research has already been done and started by folks like Ed Sanders and Maury Terry. There's a lot of fruit to be born from some of the research they've already conducted, and no one's legitimately really run down for right, wrong, or indifferent. I mean, there's a lot of disinformation around a lot of these subjects, but that's the point I was making earlier. What you were just saying there, Dana. So I appreciate using your brain hole for, as you always do, man, for God's intended purposes, and not for an oversized paperweight like some Muppets like RR channel in the chat. If he's still there, where are you at, RR? You son of a bitch.
I would drive home the point that whether people like it or not, it's not me deifying these guys. They're human. They're prone to error. Same with Dave McGowan. But we literally would not know a fucking thing about the process if it was not for Ed Sanders. Take it to the bank, okay? Ed Sanders
100%.
Literally spent a large portion of his life being stalked, harassed, threatened, all kinds of shit, just to get that book out, traveling all over the world, to go to London to go fight this cult, and he ends up winning. We would know nothing. We would know nothing, because do you think that the LAPD, LASO, IRS intelligence, INS, the FBI, that they would have put out any of that information? It would have been the Scientology PR release, blaming it on the process and passivity in the newspapers, and then it all would have gone away. If it wasn't for
Or
Ed,
a black
we
PR
wouldn't know
campaign, ma'am. Let's not discount a black PR campaign in the mix there, right? Like Son of Sam style, right?
Yeah, I'm not, but I'm saying if it wasn't for somebody going deeper with what Ed did and getting the history of, all of these individuals, like, okay, so let's bring it back to RFK. Specifically, Ed talks about Lloyd, the Processian, who worked in the ambassador kitchen and was maybe not there the night of the assassination. Well, the JFK file dump that occurred last year, there was one random file. It was a Secret Service memo. And when Sirhan was arrested, what did he have in his keys? He had the key to a vehicle that was owned by a cook in the kitchen of the Ambassador Hotel. Was that Lloyd the Processian? I have no idea, because they redacted the name.
Well, I was about to say we can make some reasonable assumptions.
Correct.
Yeah. And so I'm glad you're bringing that point up. Go ahead, sir.
I was just saying that's wild. That I actually did not know he had that key on him. So
neither did I. Yeah. Nobody had any fucking idea, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's Ed, again, think about it. He beat Helter Skelter. He's got the history. He's talking about Marianne being called Hecate. He's talking about Robert DeGripson and Marianne being Scientologists, like all this stuff. Like, he got all of that out so quickly, and even his updates in the family, where he has to refer to it as like the satanic British cult. It's like, guys, we wouldn't have any of this. And we wouldn't have any of it if he didn't donate his files to, the university. And Josh Zeman wants to sit out here and lie, because he is fucking lying. And you can sue me, Josh. I don't give a fuck. He is lying to people, saying that universities don't want to touch Maury's files because of what has gone down on YouTube. And I'm like, that's bullshit.
He's friends with Leonardo DiCaprio, man. I've seen it. Don't be easy on Zeman now. He's friends with Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't know what that
means. I'm sure that he's friends.
I mean, honestly,
you beat me to it, man. Beat me to it.
Let him sue anybody, though, because then you would have to get into discovery.
Well,
whatever. They're also litigation happy. Fucking, Jason Goodman, George Webb. I mean, why is George Webb? What?
No, George Webb the Nazi? No, please continue. I like to hear about George Webb the Nazi.
Well, no, because like
Project Paperclip, Nazi father of George Webb, in my opinion.
There's people on X that like, and I've told them, I'm like, stop tagging me in whatever articles you're writing, that thanks for crediting my research, but like, I don't want to be involved with George Webb. People trying to get me to work with George Webb, because for some reason George Webb is interested in the Manson case, but he takes the total Mae Brussel approach of like, oh, the ground was filled with chemicals from the army, and this is what was fucking them up, and this is all just this random naval intelligence officer that was running the whole thing. And it's like, all of these people are so litigation happy. Why was Jason Goodman interested in the son of Sam? Why did he know Manny Grossman? Why did he know Josh Zeman? What the fuck is George Webb doing? Why is George Webb out here praising Candace Owens? Oh, and George Webb is cousins with John Mappin, her other handler.
That's wild.
Oh shit!
Like, what the fuck on,
that's
guys?
some wild shit.
Oh shit! Oh shit! I think I have. I think I have something for that.
That's it.
Nice. Because it is that level of creepiness, man.
Kill Bill Sirens.
George
That's
Webb,
exactly right.
George Webb Schweigert's his real name, and I think some folks call him on the phone, the cordless phone that his father literally invented, the Project Paperclip Nazi father I was talking about, invents the cordless telephone. You want to talk about intelligence operations right there. That's what I'm saying. We can look at that and the known aspect of it, but I think someone calls him up on the phone because he comes around and shitcoats everything that goes on in conspiracy culture and parapolitics. And I've been watching this motherfucker, that Muppet, George Webb, do it for over 10 years now. He does it to every Manson. He loves his shit code. He does it. He's been there for every incident you can think of. The Charlie Kirk situation. He's the one who's like, oh, they closed down the Dairy Queen. Well, bitch, that was never the Dairy Queen in question. So let's take it down the notch there, George.
Man, so the chemicals on Spawn Ranch, like that's what was what? Like,
this is just some stupid theory. Like, I briefly read through the article, and it's like, oh, these experiments were being run, and these chemicals were coming through the ground, and then we have this spooky naval intelligence officer, whatever. And I'm just like, why are you guys running with this? First off, this is basically like Mae Brussels' thesis, which is a total crock of shit. And it's like nobody wants to talk about the fact that there was literally a Zodiac apron, if that's what you would like to call it, that Vincent Bugliosi had in fucking evidence that he chose not to admit into trial. Why would that be? Why are investigators, cops that were working the case, that were involved with the raids, telling Ed Sanders through the late 80s that they believe that Bruce Davis, at a bare minimum, was responsible for 2 or 3 of the Zodiac crimes, and they confirmed the existence of this Zodiac robe being picked up where the family is found? Like, I don't give a fuck about your stupid conspiracy theories about this weird naval intelligence guy. Maybe he's connected, maybe he's not. I don't care about the chemicals in the ground. I don't care about Jolly West. You've made no proof. You've shown no proof about Jolly West.
We're all dumber now from hearing you, George.
It's all just ridiculous. I'm like, you know what we do know from multiple independent sources, court records, police reports? We know that these people were taking drugs, fucking animals, filming all of it, and doing Scientology. That's what we know.
There you go. That is the major figure and important 100%. Factor, because part of the doing Scientology is the hypnotic, in my opinion, is the hypnotic nature of their operations and the the hole in the cans and shit. You know what I mean? Like it's some hypnosis shit, right? That's that's my take on it. Why we see it coming up over and over again.
Right.
That's confirmed in court. It's been called a form of hypnosis. I mean, it legitimately
it's not your common understanding.
Correct.
But it is.
But then add in some acid and patchouli julies out in the desert holding onto the cans.
Well, and that's like a low level electroshock, right?
It's low level ECT. That is correct. That's why any ex-Scientology influencer, Aaron Smith Levin, fucking Leah Remini, whatever, you will see this stuff nowhere, but it is. And that's why they don't talk about it, because they still use the tech. They like the tech. They just don't like David Miscavige. Take a fucking hint.
There's like a whole branch of Scientology like that.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
I was just going to say there's a whole branch of Scientology like that, where they don't like follow the church, but they still use the tech and do like the auditing and stuff.
They do. So there is like the Free Zone. There's like independent Scientologists. There's a whole bunch of like officially named factions, but then you have like these influencers, someone like Aaron Smith Levin, who's the biggest, ex-Scientology channel, who his mother has a brick and mortar in Florida where she gives like auditing and trains people there, but it's not a part of the church. They don't speak out about the tech. they speak out about David Miscavige
Right.
because they're all butthurt that they can't get their money back. That's all they care about.
There you go.
Right.
And other JJ, as well, I was saying before about the 192 sects of Christianity and how it applies to Satanism. Well, that's corporate Satanism and all these. And once you get all these egotistical maniacs are like, oh, I can do this better than L. Ron Hubbard did. So you have all these different branches, dude. It gets real weird and wild. I don't even want to get into it at the moment. But I do want to take a quick time to thank both of you for joining me here tonight to get a little GCD. And thank you folks to the internet for joining us here to get a little GCD on the triumphant return of Operation GCD Fridays. Couldn't think of a better way to do it here, but we'll not closing at this moment. I just want to bring it in for a landing here. And before I do that, I'll let y'all have some closing thoughts and statements, any plugs and stuff like that. But I would like to recognize our official Muppet here tonight and their Muppet nonsense they continue to perpetrate regardless of the fact that I tell them, learn how to read our channel, you fucking Muppet. Or actually just unplug your ears. You're supposedly listening to this program. I've already answered this question for you. So you're either a bigger Muppet than I previously thought, or those Muppets that only need to fire your ass and hire a new AI Bill Colby ball washing bot there, buddy. For the edification of our channel, because I know they're not being serious. Anyone else who wants to know the answer to this and missed it earlier, Bill Colby attended high school in the same small town as Ted Bundy's mother, and in fact was by his own admission there in that town at the time of the procreation of young Ted. So I like to call it Bill and Ted's murderous adventure. Old Bill Colby and Ted Bundy, that is. So anyhow,
I swear to God, we covered this on another episode that I was on. I know. I swear to God, we covered this though, because I remember pulling up Program to Kill. In fact, I'm pretty sure I still have it saved on the same spot on my PDF version. But yeah,
an actual PDF version or like PDF file version? What are we talking about?
No, like an actual PDF file of.
You're a musician. I got you.
Yeah, right. I'm a musician. No, JJ, I do music. Okay.
I know. That's what I said. You're a magician. That's what I said. You're a magician. All right. Well, let's turn over to Miss Studol for some closing statements, ma'am. I do thank you.
Why do I have to go first? Why do I have to go first?
Nope, it's happening. It's already going on. Just accept it.
Oh fuck. Okay. You
can defer over to other JJ.
No, it's fine. I've already started. Don't fucking interrupt me now. Rotting Jewels on Instagram, YouTube, and What is the Process podcast, Patreon. I do Sloppy Toppy Psyop Sundays, and yeah, I guess that's about. And Dana Duda on Twitter or X, whatever the fuck it's called. I don't know.
Nice. Well, I appreciate your thoughts tonight, ma'am, on some of these matters. The Process Church meets the worlds there of Jeffrey Epstein. I think that Paul Cranston revelation is quite revealing in regards to these relations.
Well, one thing I didn't say that I will bring up before we end is that one fantastic revelation that came from the emails that was sent to me by one of my patrons. So Paul Krasner talks about being gang stalked by the Church of Scientology in regards to an article that he had written about them. And he got an email from that individual. This is Paul F. Daly, who works at the Alexander Shulgin Institute. But that individual admitted that individual admitted that he was the one that was working for the Guardian's office, which was Scientology's old CIA. I did find the guy in a really old Scientology magazine, so that is confirmed.
Oh, it's the MDMA guy.
Correct.
Oh, weird. It's all of these Muppets of the processing nature introducing this drug shit into our culture. Go fucking figure, dude.
Wow. Go figure.
That's good stuff, ma'am. That's, as always, once again, I do appreciate your time, and discussing these Satanist Nazi Muppets of a processing variety is always one of my favorite pastimes. And I'll make sure I get your links in the show notes for everybody. And other JJ, appreciate your thoughts, your time, your sir, and your magical skills you got there. You said you're a magician.
Yeah. No. I do music.
Play some music. Play some music if you're a magician.
I do some music. So, but yeah,
do us a music trick there, magician.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can find me pretty much anywhere at Rise to Liberty or well, that's pretty much it. RiseToLiberty.store if you want some merch, or come hang out with me on Wednesdays is when I do my Satanic Panic is Real show. I also do shows on Fridays and Mondays.
I will do that. I'll come hang out with you on Wednesdays.
Yeah, definitely. We need to get both of you guys over at some point and talk some Satanists, because it seems to be that they're fucking everywhere.
I think we're at a precipice of a lot of different activities.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like one and the same, right? Process, Scientologists.
Even if they're not, right? No, they are. You're right. Even if they're not like process, like we got my membership card, like they have common values, right?
Oh yeah.
Shared principles.
Oh yeah. 100%. And they literally just are everywhere. And I really do feel like we're on this cusp of something big coming, just because there's so much propaganda coming down the pipeline. And, I'm here to try and destroy as much as I can of the Satanic Panic narrative. So
boom, right in your face, I'll destroy it, sir, right there. I like your style. There, JJ. I'll make sure your links are in the show notes. And if I can offer some closing statements to folks who join us in here for the triumphant return of Operation GCD Live, a beardless version, and no hawkless. I'm all bald-headed up there. They still use the tech. That's wild. This is what I'm getting at. So the Satanic Temple has an e-meter, right, ma'am? Or a P-scope?
Well, that's the question. Which one is it? But yes, they do. And Dougie, when I dug, Lucian says that he thinks that he can improve its efficacy.
Yeah. So they still use the tech, all right. These damn Satanists of the processing variety, right? And I would say these Muppets do all know each other. Thank you, Uncle Ted. The Mindhunter guy, the guy that gave us the term serial killer, grew up on this same street, was in the Boy Scouts with John Wayne Gacy. He's also the man credited with finding, this is Robert Ressler, with finding those dead bodies. Like, oh, is that smell of 30 dead bodies in John's basement that I smell right now? That's Robert Ressler, the FBI Muppet from the Behavioral Analysis Unit or Analyst Unit. And on that note, and how all these Muppets know each other, and I'm going to tie everything back here on that note to the Society of Cincinnati. One of Gacy's, if not Gacy's last victim, was a 16-year-old boy picked up from a Chicago bus stop from Omaha, Nebraska, the stepbrother of Paul Bonacci from the Franklin scandal, one of the victims. Paul Bonacci's mother of a prominent Society of Cincinnati family. Paul Bonacci's stepfather and the father of that young 16-year-old victim of John Wayne Gacy's was an Anderson, one of the most prominent Society of Cincinnati families. And that man appeared to have been a member, a hereditary member, Paul Bonacci's stepfather, that is. So if you wonder how these Muppets get involved in these things, once again, it all goes back to the Society of Cincinnati. All roads lead to those Muppets. And they are the folks that started American. I assure you, there's factional divides within it, but they still run this place that they started. Military junta style. Just saying. Anyhow, any last statements, closing thoughts, any magical tricks there? You mentioned one there earlier, JJ, about a magical trick maybe?
No, I mean,
I heard it right there. That's a magic trick right there, sir.
Those victims that you mentioned were picked up less than 1 mile away from the process headquarters in Chicago that was still active. That, might I add, had a clown ministry.
Boom! Right. That blew my brain hole, man. I had no idea that was that close proximity. Well, on that note, we got to leave you with a warning, too. I mean, blowing up some brain holes like that, we got to have a safety message here.
There's thousands of Americans out there. By the way, I've been shot with a laser beam twice.
Watch your six, folks. Stay vigilant. Ted's down. They got an ardent violator of constitutional rights, Mr. Ted Gunderson. He's down. They got him twice. Catch you folks next time.
Well, that's it. That's the show here, folks. So the next time you're out on the town, visiting your local watering holes, or perhaps just meandering around, and you hear the unmistakable sounds of metal clanking, and you spot signs of a disturbance, but check your six. Look in that garbage can, because you never can tell. The GCDs may be loose in your town.